Introduction. Music is possibly one of the very few things that can connect people from anywhere to communicate with the listener, generate feelings, and even revisit eternal memories. But have you ever wondered what humans use music for? You will find that music plays a far more significant part than you would have expected, and just how limitless and innovative its uses can be. Of course, the most common use is for personal amusement and entertainment. The beatings of drums began centuries ago, if not millennia ago, by buying the tribes in Africa or the first wind or string instruments. Today, we have concerts and orchestras that create various forms of audio for our enjoyment. The truth is that every living being has music in them, so even birds can sing. This pleasure in music has also contributed to various great opportunities to raise funds for disaster-strict areas like Haiti by creating one charity with the proceeds handed over to charities. What is the better way to make others share their money than to give them anything they like? Like all emotional music, we use it to support the mood of the situation in different circumstances that need the musical flow in the air. People of all ages need to talk about different approaches, such as their choices of sports, their dressing and friends' networks. But the best way of telling you who you can see is through the music you listen to. Thanks to the iPod and a million other music players, anyone can make a playlist appropriate for them for a good day, a bad day, a Friday, or something you inspire. You can make a playlist. Have you ever jumped into an unbelievably fast supercar to discover Beethoven's Pilot? Maybe he wants to tell you that, while he seems to have an adrenaline-packed chance, he enjoys some peace and quietness deep down. Years ago, corporations discovered how our minds could quickly recall a melody, and the birth of jingles did not follow any slogan. These short and super catchy songs led to a promotion of goods or split them, or provided them with a strong name. Another improbable application of music is the capacity to research. Therapeutic applications of music today also help reduce tension and anxiety and improve physical and spiritual well-being. Music is a perfect tool for your mood. The unorthodox use of music is its use as a tool, or rather, its tone. Recordings were historically used in fighting wars to confuse the enemy. Suspects can be tortured with sound and during questioning. Any frequencies may be released under crowd control to induce extreme pain and disperse the crowd. And there you have it. There are potentially 1 million other uses of music, and this is what makes music amazing every day. Chapter 1. Mastering the Basics of Indie Survival. How to be an indie. Being indie refers to a form of self-expression that emphasizes one's individuality. It entails critical thought and making decisions based on the internal compass rather than external factors. Indie is the culture and a way of thinking. It's not about what you wear or what bands you listen to. Read on for many helpful hints on how to accept the indie world. First method. Developing an indie attitude. 1. I don't give a damn what other people think. After all, why should you? You just have one life to live, so make the most of it and spend it freely enjoying what you do. Wear the clothes that represent who you are. Listen to music that reflects your soul and ignore the haters. They're so sad that they don't seem to love their lives as much as they should. 2. Take pleasure in fresh or forgotten products. This is what it means to be an independent artist. It's about liking and appreciating items that are underappreciated or deserve more love than they currently get. Indie culture is all about discovering the gem in the rough, from struggling artists to lovingly made, rather than lovingly budgeted, films. 3. Be self-sufficient. Make an effort to live your life independently, much like the indie filmmakers and musicians you respect. Do not be afraid to deviate from the norm and do the things that make you happy. You could dye your hair any color you like because you want it. You like the way the patterns overlap, so wear clothes that don't fit. Take up a strange hobby because you don't believe it should be strange. 4. If you don't want to, don't feel obligated to have a regular relationship. You have the option of being single, dating whoever you want, regardless of what society thinks, dating several people at once, as long as your significant others agree, and preserving your freedom in whatever relationship you do have. 5. Let your personality show through. Declare your thoughts, let your appearance represent your unique personality, and live a life that represents who you are and what you believe in. Volunteer for a workers' rights group if it is incredibly important to you that workers are treated fairly. Protest and work to get your problems on the next ballot if you don't like what's going on in your country. Second method. Getting into the culture. 1. Have a sophisticated sense of taste. People in popular culture seem to like things just because everyone else does, rather than because they are really interesting. People in the indie community value consistency, and you will need to do the same. Of course, different people have different ideas about what is good, but you can test new things to see if they are really good. Set high expectations for yourself in terms of music, food, clothes, and everything else, especially concerning consumer products. 2. Look for the eternal rather than the ephemeral. The majority of common items would only be considered successful for a brief period in mass culture. You should look for items that have a timeless nature, both past and present. This is why indie music is heavily influenced by folk music, and fashion is heavily influenced by the 1940s and 1970s. 3. Immerse yourself in the music. After all, indie stands for Independent Record Label. I won't bother providing you with a list of well-known indie bands to listen to. New bands with new sounds appear all the time, and telling you what to listen to would be counterproductive. Being indie in terms of music means being exposed to new experiences. Take out some research. Many online services, such as YouTube, Pandora, or Spotify, allow you to type in the name of an artist you like and then get suggestions for new artists to listen to. Try new stuff and listen to new music. If your favorite record store still operates, go there. Our forefathers discovered music by sifting through records for hours, and there's a lot to be said for that. Become a patron if you're lucky enough to still have a local record shop. Discuss music with your peers. The easiest way to find out about artists you love is to chat with other music lovers. Being indie means exchanging new ideas and sharing new things. If you like a band, tell your friends about it. Engage in your community's music scene. There is music being played in your region no matter where you are. This is the beating heart of independent music, and a fantastic way to get interested in your neighborhood. Find people to make new sounds with if you play music yourself. Making indie music is the best way to get involved with the indie culture. Don't be worried about whether your preferences are mainstream or indie enough. Pay attention to what you enjoy. There is no such thing as the master indie playlist, which tells us which songs are good and which aren't. Becoming a DIY enthusiast. Making your own things and learning new skills are also important aspects of being an indie. Expand on your current interests and hobbies. Do you like eating? Cooking is something you can master. Do you like wearing scarves and knitwear? Become a knitter. Do you spend much time on your phone? Learn how to make your own apps. The knowledge is available for self-education, and the possibilities are infinite. Don't be afraid to use your imagination. Indie labels have long been renowned for pioneering new musical genres. You can do the same for your artistic endeavors. Include your friends in the DIY process. When you have assistance, you will accomplish more ambitious tasks. Build the community garden, or volunteer for a cause that everyone is enthusiastic about. It's all about working together as an indie. In your neighborhood, there are numerous community groups with which you can get involved. Keep your mind open to new experiences. You should always be open to new content, whether it's new movies from new directors, new books or old neglected ones, new music or a new look. Philosophies and theories too. Indie culture is about discovering things to enjoy that others have overlooked, forgotten, or haven't yet had the opportunity to appreciate. Third method, dressing indie. 1. Your wardrobe is a way for you to express yourself. It's almost as if you're a blank white canvas and your style is the work of art. What will you say to strangers? Finding your own voice and being proud to talk is at the heart of indie music. Look for antique clothing that appeals to you. Older cuts and prints are often lost to the passage of time, and some of them are well worth resurrecting. Don't be afraid to wear anything a bit out of the ordinary. It's all about being yourself when you're an indie. Give it a shot if you think it would look fine. 2. Avoid shopping at big-name shops and brands. Instead, go to your nearest thrift shop to save money. Support the environment by recycling, and discover treasures you wouldn't find at the mall. 3. Make treasures out of your accessories. Jewelry, watches, hats, and scarves are all ways to show yourself. In your travels, search for hidden gems, but don't forget that you can make them yourself. Your accessories should tend to be meaningful to you. 4. Aim for a natural appearance. The emphasis in indie culture is on a natural appearance. Makeup should be kept to a minimal. Organically formed clothes, flowy tops or willowy pants, should be worn, and your hair should look fantastic, but like you just rolled out of bed or came off the beach should be preserved. How to dress indie. Being indie is more than just a musical genre. It's a way of life, and the first step is how you dress. It's just about attempting to be your true self. There are, however, certain guidelines to dressing indie, such as avoiding conventional trends and wearing headphones. First method, mastering the basics. 1. Be true to yourself. The word indie refers to a person's freedom, which is where the name comes from. What does it mean to be self-sufficient? It implies that you go your own way. It makes no difference whether the latest fashion trends are, were, or will be. You just do what you want. So don't think about dressing indie. If you're dressing the way you want, that's all that matters. Just make sure you enjoy it for the sake of enjoying it. It's also difficult to say whether we're making the decision or someone else is asking us to make it because society's voice is too loud. 2. Brand names and mainstream stores should be avoided. So, if there's one thing that defines indie, it's not using brand names. A Coach purse or a pair of $250 True Religion jeans will not be seen on an indie boy. They're usually a little more rational than that. Where's the competition if a similar, well-made, quality piece can be found in an antique shop? But, once again, do as you wish. Just because the majority of people like something doesn't mean it's nice. Embrace a trend or two if you really enjoy it. Please don't abandon it when it goes out of style. 3. Please return it. It's all about appreciating what's fine when you're an indie. And healthy lasts a lifetime, not just a season, as trends do. As a result, indie people have a strong affinity for antique and timeless products. Think the 40s to 70s. If you come across something retro that you like, go for it. It was fantastic back then, and it's still now. Remember, do you like it? Whether it's a retro band tee or your sister's Kelly Kapowski tee, it's not impossible to forget. Who knew becoming an independent artist could be so simple? 4. If you like, you can mix and match a variety of styles. Mix it up now that you're free to be yourself. If you must, channel a little Jackie Kennedy, a little John Lennon, and a little artist formerly known as Prince. You'll be confident if you like it, and if you're patient, you'll be able to pull it off. Don't be concerned with specific parts fitting into a specific mark. Do you like that plaid shirt, but you're afraid it'll make you look like a hipster? What about the studded cuff that looks like it's been dipped in eyeliner? That's great. Take a chance. When you combine them all, the result is a look that is uniquely you. 5. Don't be fooled by the hype. You'll probably read a lot of things on the internet, watch a lot of videos, and talk to a lot of people about what indie is. If they say things like, "Dude, you have to wear skinny jeans," or "Whoa, what are you doing in those Converses?" don't take it personally. The whole point of indie is that you don't have to stick to a certain style. Please feel free to correct them as well. Second method, adding the accessories. 1. Layers are the way to go. Do something about it if you're cold. Over a t-shirt or a jumper, layer your cardigan. In July, wear a scarf. Underneath your dress, put on tights and socks. You have the choice of clashing or not clashing. All is fine. If you clash, you might come across as a little hipster. But unlike hipsters, your look isn't shouting, "I don't give a damn," so loudly that it seems you do. 2. Accessorize it with jewelry and other trinkets. Anything goes once again. Whatever catches your imagination that day. Wooden bangles, a dream catcher pendant, an old locket, one of those headband or is it a choker necklaces from the 1990s. Hemp bracelets, door knocker earrings, and long necklaces are all cute and add a feminine touch to every outfit, but you can wear whatever you want. Pins and necklaces from the past are also adorable. To freshen up your wardrobe, go to yard sales and thrift stores. Scarves and headbands are appropriate for both men and women. The classic messenger bag, denim, leather, you name it, does too, though if you just want to rock the Lisa Frank backpack, go for it. 3. Wear the shoe if it suits. Everything is acceptable. Hopefully, this does not come as a surprise to you. However, if you're looking for something unique, here's a place to start. Vans Authentics are a good choice. They're also available in several colors. Mono black, canvas and rubber are both blacks. Any hue of olive, navy, or off-white are all good options, but they're not the only ones. Moccasins are a must-have for any indie collection. They give an ordinary outfit a rare and antique look. They come in a range of styles and colors, and they go with almost everything. Minnesota Moccasin, the Moccasin Shop, and the Moccasin House are all excellent moccasin websites. Nike Dunks have recently become popular due to the nostalgia they can evoke, as well as the limited edition models available. Furthermore, they look great on almost all. Some people may want to avoid these because Nike Dunks are considered mainstream. If you have the money, however, Nike SB Dunks or Nike ID Dunks are more unique. Sanics are also a good touch. They are available in a variety of designs, colors, and patterns. Look for a boat shop or a GB shoe warehouse in your area. Girls may also opt for a pair of cute flats in any color, pattern, or design. If you're tired of walking around in boots, try some with funky platforms or gladiator sandals. Third method, completing the look. 1. Make your own garments. Nothing says, "I'm independent and completely me," like something you made yourself. You will begin if you can sew. If making something seems too difficult, consider tailoring an existing piece or applying your personal touches to an object that has been collecting dust in your closet. You can completely transform your wardrobe without even going to the shop. If sewing isn't your thing, consider dyeing, weaving, crocheting, or some other project that can turn an ordinary item into something extraordinary. 2. Dress appropriately for the season. Pea coats of every color, whether double-breasted or not, are suitable for girls in cold weather. Cardigans are best friends when it's cold outside. Striped, patterned, and solids are also perfect options for t-shirts and tanks. Antique leather or members. Only jackets are a perfect choice for guys in cold weather. You can even decorate them with cool pins if you like. Vests or sweaters. Vests look great with something in the winter. You should also try a track jacket, which comes in a variety of colors and is suitable for all seasons. Scarves, for men and women, are appropriate all year since they are available in cotton, linen, silk, and wool. No matter what you're wearing, they're a classy touch to add. Bright colors and neutrals both look fantastic when paired with the right outfit. Bandanas can also be turned into stylish scarves, either alone or in pairs. A scarf can also be worn in a variety of ways. Even a plain scarf can make even the most basic outfit look incredibly special. 3. Make an effort to be environmentally conscious. Indie kids have a clear understanding of what's good for the world and what's not. They can reuse whatever they can. Thrift stores are buzzing hotspots. Donate your clothing, buy secondhand, sew your own, and don't let fashion affect your carbon footprint. You can also avoid fur and similar materials in general. Animals play a vital role in the world in achieving this. Take the time to understand what goes into your work, as well as who or what it affects. 4. Allow your hair to do its own thing. Let your hair down in all its glory, whether it's straight, wavy, or curly. There's no need to fix it in the bathroom for hours. What's the matter with your hair the way it is right now? There's nothing. It's also safer for your hair to avoid being exposed to too much sun. So, even though it's a nappy pile of coarse straw, show off what your mother gave you. That isn't to suggest you won't be able to do anything about it. Go for it if you want to throw it up, shave it off, and rock the mullet. Only stay away from the dyes and thermal treatments. That's not you, right? 5. Put on a pair of headphones. If there's one thing you can say about indie youth, it's that they're into music. So, when you're out, get yourself a good pair of vintage or designer headphones that will add a bit of mystery. The Grado SR60 headphones are the best pair of headphones that come to mind for the job. Once you've had your headphones, go out and find some great underground artists and songs to listen to. When it comes to music, most indie kids don't follow the top 40 and choose to forge their own route. How to become independent on the way of indie survival. Being self-sufficient is an important skill for people who want to have more control of their lives and believe they don't need the help of others to achieve their objectives. Being more self-reliant will allow you to do what you want without worrying about what others think, and it will also allow you to come up with unique solutions to your problems. As you gain independence and begin to take control of your life, you can experience feelings of relief and joy. First step: thinking independently. 1. Accept yourself as you are. If you can't live with yourself, you won't be able to create a solid, independent you. Accept your body, attitude, emotions, choices, desires, and life story. Don't say things that aren't in your best interests. Everyone can be solid. Everyone has undergone something to show their strength. Put the mistakes behind you and learn from them. Make an effort to improve yourself and, above all, enjoy yourself. Knowing who you are is an important aspect of being independent because it prevents you from having to behave like someone else. 2. Have faith in yourself. Who would believe in you if you don't believe in yourself? A Us is special and has something to tell. No one can speak your words, and not all can agree with what you say, which is why you must stick with who you are, because at the end of the day, you are all you have, and if you believe in yourself, that's all that matters. Believing in yourself will lead you to trust your own choices, even though they go against the wishes of others or even society. If you don't believe in yourself, you'll constantly second-guess yourself and seek advice from others whenever you need to make a decision. Remove yourself from the situation. 3. Accept the world as it is. Independent people aren't arrogant, and they don't think the human race as a whole is cruel. Self-sufficient people see the world for what it is, good and poor, and choose to be independent for themselves and others. Since you don't trust anybody, you're not self-sufficient. Since you think highly of yourself, you are not self-sufficient. Follow the following guidelines. Accept the world and make the decision to be solid. Accepting the universe and all of its complexities will also make you realize that there is an infinite number of ways to live out there, and no one is pushing you to choose one. 4. Be emotionally self-sufficient. You probably depend on a lot of people for emotional support. It could be your parents, a significant other, or a close group of friends. While it is possible to rely on these people for the rest of your life, it is in your best interests to accept the fact that anyone you rely on will pass away at some point. Some will leave, others will stop speaking to you, and all will die at some point. You are the one who will still be with you. You will never be let down if you depend on yourself for help. It's fine to form attachments to a few key people in your life, but you can't let their happiness dictate your own. It's all up to you. 5. Be self-disciplined. Others do not have, and will never have, the same stake in your success as you do. Habit is a factor in motivation and performance. You must replace your poor habit of procrastination with a healthy planning habit. The world's most popular people aren't necessarily the brightest or the most beautiful, but they have a series of victories over both large and small tasks underpinning their self-esteem, regardless of what other abilities or gifts they have been granted. This is how you learn everything in school, gain dating trust, and excel in life in general. Your goal should be to satisfy yourself, not your family, if you want to achieve a career goal. The same is true if you want to get excellent marks. Don't feel compelled to lose weight, write a novel, or build a home solely to please others. Do it because you want to motivate yourself to reach your goals. Make it a personal goal. 6. Make yourself a hero. A role model will empower and guide you on how to live your life. Finding someone you respect and who shares your principles is not a bad thing. Though, it's important to think of yourself as your own role model, a person who is capable of doing and saying whatever he or she desires. Aim to be yourself and the best version of yourself. You can't be self-sufficient if you can't look up to yourself. Don't idolize any of your social circle's peers or associates. This would only increase the chances of forgetting to do your own thing. 7. Accept the fact that life isn't always fair. Our parents loved us so much that they went to great lengths to ensure that we were raised in a fair and just atmosphere. The modern world, however, does not operate on that theory, which is a major issue today. The majority, which you may not be a member of, or people with money and influence, are normally protected by the laws of the world. You would be treated unfairly for a variety of reasons, which may include your skin color, intellect, height, weight, wealth, beliefs, gender, and pretty much everything else that makes you who you are. Despite this, you must be happy. Don't let the unfairness of the world stop you from pursuing your dreams. Do you want to work as a male nurse? Is it possible for a woman to serve in the military? Are you the first person in your family to earn a college diploma? Instead of reminding yourself that it's just not possible in today's world, go for it. 8. Don't be concerned about what other people think. This is the most crucial aspect of being self-sufficient. You won't be happy if you depend on others to tell you if your music is good or if your outfit is pretty. Nothing else matters as long as you enjoy it. Stop stressing about what other people think about your life, whether it's about your clothing, your job, or your significant other. These are your choices, not the choices of others. When you're always thinking to yourself, "But what would other people think if?" you'll never be able to do your own thing. 9. Don't just say you're the best, back it up with proof. Your opinion is the most important factor in your encouragement, but you can tell when you're bearing your own weight in terms of achievements. It's much easier to just start coping with your duties, trusting that you can handle whatever comes up because you've done it before than it is to try to reach goals because you're all warm and fuzzy inside. Cold and fuzzy emotions don't help, and neither does berating yourself does. 10. Collect your own data. Watch and read the news from several outlets. Follow it as much as possible to hear all sides of the story before making a decision. You can also chat with people from different backgrounds to learn more about a relevant subject, but never let others tell you what to think. Make it a priority to read as much as you can, whether it's fiction or the New York Times. Being well-informed will discourage you from being a follower and allow you to think for yourself. You don't want to be a herd animal and believe something only because 50 of your closest Facebook friends say so. Second step. Acting more independent. 1. Keep strong friendships. To be self-sufficient, you don't have to leave your mates. In reality, having good friends enhances your freedom. Be there for the friend when they need someone to talk to. Be dependable. Do not share your mate's secrets or personal matters with others, even though they remain silent about it. For the sake of your friends and family, be a strong person. It not only reflects your selflessness, but it also teaches you how to cope with any circumstance that occurs as a result of your friends' interactions. 2. Become financially self-sufficient. Since our parents have a natural desire to provide for us, it will be challenging. When they offer financial support, respectfully decline. It's tempting to rely on others for financial help, but you have to be self-sufficient before you can achieve freedom. Make sure your money is safe. Financial independence is needed for true independence. Pay your own taxes, drive your own car, and pay your rent with a personal check. If you do not have enough money to cover these costs, start saving right away. Savings will not only provide you with financial security, but the money you hold to yourself will also provide you with an unparalleled sense of independence and encouragement. 3. Don't take anything for granted, whether it's comfort, ease, or the desire to be good. Put out the best effort in everything you do. Defend your viewpoints. And, for you ladies, don't make a man feel obligated to pamper you. And, for you boys, don't make a man feel obligated to pamper you. Do something positive if you're worthy of it. You should do it as long as it has no negative consequences. That doesn't mean you can do it yourself, but you shouldn't feel obliged to make someone do things for you that you should do yourself. Give it your all to leave a lasting impression. The individual does not depend on others to complete tasks for them. What a solid, self-reliant individual. 4. When you have the chance, leave your friends and family at home. This is a daunting step on the path to self-sufficiency, but you must begin doing things for yourself. You don't need to drive to the restaurant with someone because you can meet them there. Go shopping alone at least once a week, and spend at least 1 or 2 evenings alone each week. If you're used to always taking a friend with you when you go camping or to the mall, see how it feels to rough it on your own. 5. Get rid of negative forces in your life. If it's not completely important, don't end friendships. Learn to maintain a safe gap. Even if your friends are totally cool, they could just keep you from breaking out on your own. Weed out your garden, as they say. Some people will make you shine, while others will stunt your growth and drain all of your resources. It's time to break the cord with a friend who is trying to make you do things that make you unhappy, whether it's cheating or just being a meaner guy. Stay away from those peers who are obsessed with gaining a following and making people worship them. These individuals will want you to do just as they say and will prevent you from being self-sufficient. 6. Spend less capital. Try to save as much as you can. Since life can be unpredictable at times, this can assist you in establishing an emergency fund. Accidents don't happen on purpose. Put aside a fixed amount of money per month to improve the quality of your life. Accidents, health issues, and even natural disasters will hit when you least expect it. You may not believe you have the financial resources to save money, but even minor adjustments, such as making your own coffee instead of going to Starbucks once a day, will save you more than $30 a week or more than $1,500 per year. 7. Make an account with a bank. The majority of banks combine checking and savings account into one convenient bundle. Some businesses, agencies, and organizations would require you to have a checking account at the very least. Some only pay employees via direct deposit. Save the money you receive that isn't needed for your own expenses until you're ready to be self-sufficient. Having your own bank account will help you from relying on others for money and will prevent you from overspending. 8. Starting a career path. Experiment with various professions to find the one that you love the most. Be an investment banker or start a small business if money makes you happy. Become a teacher if you enjoy working with children. Be a professor, lawyer, or consultant if you enjoy being an expert. Act as a salesperson or in the service sector if you enjoy talking to people. Engineering, psychology, and sociology are good options if you want to learn how things work. The vast majority of students choose occupations that are unrelated to their major. Some people who do not complete their formal education go on to become millionaires. Working in a field that you enjoy is an important part of maturing as an individual. 9. Discover your true calling. Anything you're passionate about, such as a sport, a girlfriend-boyfriend, music, a band, a form of art, dance, or religion. Something you do that takes up time and boosts your imagination regularly. Video games and all-day Barbie play aren't the most cost-effective options. Wasting time on the internet is included in this category. Discovering a passion will give your life more meaning and help you feel more in control of what you want out of life. 10. Let your day revolve around you. People who are most reliant on others cause their lives to revolve around other people's or objects' needs. Create a list of what you want to do, what you need to do, and what you should have already done to prepare your day according to your timetable. If a friend needs a favor, that's great. Just don't let that friend take over your carefully devised strategy. Behave as though you're on a date with Brad Pitt while you're home. That is, keep it safe and don't let anyone prevent you from spending time alone. 11. Express appreciation to those who have helped you. You don't have to be obstinate to be self-sufficient. If someone has genuinely aided you, express your gratitude by saying thank you, writing a letter, or hugging him if he is a close friend is not a bad idea. There's nothing wrong with knowing that you need support from time to time, and admitting that you do won't make you any less independent. 12. Don't follow the crowd. It doesn't mean you have to pay $60 for a shirt just because someone else does. Dress however you want, and say whatever you want. Go ahead and act mad if that's your thing. It's important to note that good taste and style don't have to be expensive. They can be innate or trained, and they can make anything look good with a little know-how. 13. Spend time with others who hold opposing viewpoints. Spending time with people who are just like you will not motivate you to become more self-reliant. Making the effort to be friends with a diverse community of people who all have different backgrounds and careers will help you gain a deeper understanding of what's out there and know that there is no one-size-fits-all solution to anything. If you're a yoga teacher, hanging out with a lawyer can be refreshing, as can spending time with a chef can be if you're a student. This will help you become more open-minded and able to try something new on your own. Third step. Growing your self-sufficiency in navigating the world. 1. Get a driver's license or learn how to use public transit. If you don't learn to drive or get around on your own, you'll never be fully self-sufficient. How can you call yourself self-sufficient if your boyfriend, best friend, or parents are still driving you around? Of course, this implies you're of legal driving age. Take life by the horns and get a driver's license if you live in the suburbs and need a vehicle to get around. Then, work your way up to buying your own car. If you live in a major city, don't rely on walking around or waiting for a friend to give you a ride. Instead, learn how to use the subway, bus, or train system. Relying on others for transportation can make you more likely to sit at home or wait for others to decide your fate. You should have the right to do whatever you want, whenever you want. 2. Instead of constantly seeking assistance from others, do your own studies. Maybe you call your father every 5 minutes when you're planning a big party or a wedding, or maybe you call your mother every 5 minutes when you're planning a big party or a wedding. Perhaps you have a friend who is an expert in anything and is your go-to person if you have a problem at work, with your car, or with your television. If you want to be more self-sufficient, make it a habit to do your own homework before calling these people. Getting someone to turn to is fine, but the next time you pick up the phone, ask yourself, can I work this out on my own? The majority of the time, the answer would be yes. Sure, it'll take a little longer, but consider how much more satisfying it will be. 3. Acquire the opportunity to be useful around your home. Are you tired of having to call a plumber, a handyman, a painter, or even a trusted friend anytime something goes wrong in your home? Watching instructional videos, reading WikiHow, or reading popular mechanics will help you become handier. Inquire for carpentry lessons from a good friend who is a carpenter. Learning how to fix up your room will save you a lot of money and give you the feeling that you don't have to rely on others to change your life. And it's much easier to learn how to unclog a toilet easily than to wait for anyone else to do it. 4. Prepare a meal for yourself. Do not depend on Trader Joe's or the gourmet deli down the street to prepare your meals. You do not have to be a master chef to feel confident in your ability to cook the fundamentals. How to saute basic foods, use your microwave, and prepare simple dishes like pasta, potatoes, and salad. Knowing you can go to the store or farmer's market, pick up a few main ingredients, and cook up a delicious meal on your own can make you feel like you can accomplish anything. If you become a fantastic chef, you can also invite friends and family over to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Learning to cook for yourself would not only make you more independent, but it will also help you save a lot of money, which is another important aspect of independence. 5. Balance the spending by learning how to do so. Maybe your parents, partner, or significant other have been juggling your budget for you, or maybe you just haven't given it enough consideration and have been spending a little too freely. Whatever the case might be, you should know how much money you have to spend per month or week and make a list of what you spend it on so you can see where you can save money. Finding ways to save money will help you become more self-sufficient, and you'll have more money to spend on whatever you want. 6. If you need directions, don't rely on your GPS. Sure, using your smartphone's map or GPS will assist you in getting from one location to another. But what if your GPS stops working, your phone runs out of battery, or you end up at the edge of a cliff? Can you stick with it to the bottom? Hopefully, this is not the case. Make a mental map of where you need to go before going out, and if possible, print out physical directions to follow. But even better, know where you're going so you don't feel so reliant on a device. If you're going on a long journey, the GPS can come in handy. But regardless, make sure you have a good idea of where you're headed, so you don't feel lost completely. 7. Get in the habit of doing things on your own. If you're completely self-sufficient, you won't need the assistance of a companion to complete any mission or participate in any enjoyable activity. Don't put off checking out the new restaurant in town or watching that new movie at the cinema because you're waiting for a friend. Treat yourself and go alone to the movies. You'll be surprised by how many other people appreciate a good film alone as well. It's all about how you think. No one will second-guess you if you show and behave as if you're totally at ease doing this stuff on your own. 8. Go at your own pace. No one is fully self-sufficient, just as Rome was not founded in a day. This isn't a hard and fast guideline that must be practiced to the letter. Don't do something you don't want to do. This is here to teach you how to be self-sufficient if you so choose. Independent music artists. Changes to new social media outlets. Web 2.0 has fundamentally changed the way people socialize, play, think, interact, and work with all its modern social networks, social media, apps, and mobile technologies. It has become a critical instrument for independent music artists to draw new audiences and create a fan base. And like any other marketer, if you want to take advantage of these trends, you must learn to evolve along with them. You probably waste great chances of being noticed, reaching new fans, and expanding your career if you don't make the most of the social media outlets. Alright, so how do you do that? As an independent music artist, it isn't easy to have enough time to sort out all this. You already have your hands in full making art, cultivating your passion, your brand, and building a company of sorts. To remain successful, we have to adapt to emerging technology and engage completely in social networks all over the internet. It's complicated, and if you start with social media for the first time, the learning curve can be very steep when you learn new things, such as MySQL, SMO, AdWords, SEO, VC, ROI, CSS, RSS, RSS, CPC, coding, Ajax, Widget, Mashable, Twitter, TechCrunch, Facebook, Dig, MySpace, and all the headlines that occur week after week. It's difficult to hold it up. But you can, and your time is worth it. A piece of advice to independent music artists who just got to know social media is simple. Take it slowly and have fun. Don't treat it as a new work or a school task. If you do, you're likely to be frustrated and begin to fully neglect it. To start with, look for network forums that may be of interest to you. There are a vast number of social media sites with a range of features and widgets to keep you linked. Find the networking locations for your friends and colleagues and then sign up. Once you have chosen the forum, find the best group for your style, hobby, or business. Most networks are freely available and need only a valid email address. After you register, connect with friends. Make new friends. Find old ones too. Please ask several questions. You will find that people are more than happy to support or answer some questions. Get involved. Enter a party. Join a group. Wait for a case. Post on a user profile or forum. Learn lingo. Most of these sites are turned into smaller groups with entirely new terminology and site guidelines. Periodically update your profile. Create relationships of quality. Fortunately, social media doesn't feel like operating. Yeah, you create your brand and sell your music, but you also meet people, make connections, and play with all the fun toys and gadgets. Web 2.0 is Chapter 2. Indie Music, Independent Success. Indie music is defined as the type of music that is independent of major recording labels and production studios. The makers of this kind of music often typically take an independent approach and deviate from the conventions of making music and the trends that cater to the people of today. While indie music is exempt from the great record labels, the autonomy of this form of music does not inherently mean that it is also independent of false claims surrounding music licensing. Worse still, their already limited profit shares in the music industry are sabotaged continuously by people who benefit from the generally poor music licensing system in this genre. Since they have a comparatively small share of revenues due to their freedom and autonomy from the more common record labeling companies' traditional approach, they continue to endure the reverses of not allowing for music licensing, and at the same time, independent music still gains and enjoys the same music rights as the other big genres at the moment. Indie music typically finds it more difficult to break into the popular music flow because of its lack of financial capital. Sometimes, these indie artists are popular with major label companies. However, this climb-over-the-fence strategy does not inherently guarantee musical and financial success, since certain musical styles are difficult to promote. Moreover, the competition between the current main musical genres almost always empowers and overwhelms the strength and success of independent music. There are also cases in which indie music patrons have opted to join their contemporary independent recording labels. These recording labels have the same rules and regulations as their main contemporary recording labels in terms of legal transactions. The difference between the transactions is the rate. This typically leads to lower rates for renting a studio at lower royalty costs. These seem to be ideal for any independent music artist, but there is a catch. When it comes to the number of album options, there are typically smaller, because of the lack of financial capital to fund these transactions. However, these low expense costs often mean that there is a smaller chance of profit. The essence of profit sharing with the recording business is often discussed with as much as half the net profit. However, this only works much of the time theoretically because many costs are aligned before benefit is achieved. Normally, this is used when the underground music artist becomes immensely successful in the music industry. The bottom line is that money and rights are secured in the independent music industry. The latter reaches equality when the former needs a lot of hard work to be accomplished by the independent act. Start an indie label. Indie label means a record company privately funded that is not related to any major record company. Indie labels were formed around 1960 to break the strong grip of major corporations in the world of music. Since that time, many courageous people have managed to build independent record labels that have not only gained a foothold in the world of music, but have also become an important component of today's music industry. If you want to try and open an indie label, you're in the right place. Here are some of the most important stuff everyone should know before starting an indie label. The music industry was often very competitive, with actual talents unacknowledged. If you wish to be great in the world of music, then you have to be street smart with talent. If you are an artist and a music promoter, then you have to know that you will compete with a well-established musical structure. Your music should be of the best quality. If you don't know your music, look for an artist whose music is of the highest quality. For indie labels, the saying, "the first impression is the best impression," your first release should also influence the world of music. Only then can you get recognition for yourself. The introduction of new technology has made it very easy to promote independent records. You need to take advantage of the latest internet trends to meet new audiences. You may be unable to market your record labels as an independent label company, so you have to come up with special ideas for growing your fan base and spreading your music to a wide variety of people. Indie music promotion. Get signed independently. We all understand how indie artists are defined as artists in difficulty. You produce your own music, make your own albums, write your own lyrics, promote yourself, and make your voices heard. Sadly, this is just the side of independent music we see. What most independent musicians do is even more than that. The reality is, in the country, there are many independent artists from whom we are still listening. Yeah, they're making their own music, and their music is pretty decent, but no one hears them. Why? Because they don't believe in the promotion of indie music. They refuse to sell on bigger labels. They refuse to water down their songs. Is that always the case, however? We say no. The reality is that after an independent artist has been recorded with a major record label, and as soon as the record label chooses to support indie music, indie musicians have a broader audience. This could only be the only way to function independently. Any independent artist will certainly appreciate that. So how do they get there? How do they get there? With a lot of hard work, experience, and street intelligence. Look at the music industry as a major business. Both industry players ensure that their goods are distributed. Artists, concert tickets, tracks, albums, singles, and downloads are all items of the music industry. And how, as an independent artist, can you manage to get a big record label without losing your music's pureness? Proving that the music will sell in its organic form through recording labels. How are you doing that? You would do it on a smaller scale than a record label does. This means that you must create your songs, create an image, advertise yourself, manage to perform in as many venues as possible, support indie music, and sell your records independently. This makes record labels a viable choice for you, an investment worth the money. When you see the music that you sell, you won't feel the need to change it. You will want to tweak it, but they would not even dare to touch your style and direction of music. What record labels do to independent artists who already sell their earned niches is to grow their following and encourage them to a broader public. So if you're an independent artist and you want to sign up, make sure you've got a good fan base. Make sure you have all you need to be an international artist. Make sure you do whatever you can to make record labels care. How are you doing that? By releasing all your work. The internet may be your best bet in these matters. This book gives you all the information you need to set up your own independent record label or websites that provide you with some space or promotion for your songs. Find out and give them what you have about these websites. Give them a taste of how your music is and what kind of artist you are. The reality is that record labels are still searching for unsigned artists that have achieved some fame or appreciation for their songs. You think it's safer than unknown virtual investments. That is why you need to be heard. Your material must be everywhere, and career advancement from the ground up must be created. Take the local music scene and wait for record labels to approach or sell your things. Indie music publicity. Getting your own effective music PR. Ever wonder why your career is so hard to progress to the next level? Why do some artists get media coverage, radio play, digital pictures, and gain fans of Facebook, increase their regular base of fans dramatically, and sell records and digital downloads in style? The result is a serious expansion of your fan base, recognition of their band, sell CDs and digital downloads, and get attention from there. So what's the response? Yeah, it's a no-brainer, really. The answer is music publicity. Without it, almost nothing happens, regardless of the amount of music you have accomplished. It must be every artist. The independent artist will have a challenging task of recognizing guidelines for advertisement in the music industry. You should make sure that your record is reviewed, that you write and send media releases, and feature articles and interviews to improve your chances of being aware of it. Simplified. A strong specialist in public relations who creates a music recognition that you must be seen among the vast marsh of artists who aspire to achieve the same goal. Your own independent music PR as a relatively unknown indie artist can be difficult to do. This can be helped by an effective music publisher. A successful independent music publisher that builds all the connections that can make the process much smoother and easier if you have the budget and can afford a music publishing professional's fee. If you can't, there are ways to advertise your own songs. 1. Do your check diligence. Do the requisite online research to discover the media portals that you can send for yourself. 2. Follow the submission criteria for media outlets. Make sure you carefully follow the submission guidelines. Nothing makes a music journalist worse than being bombarded with inappropriate comments. 3. Don't keep up. Once a CD, feature, or interview has been submitted, be patient. These portals receive 100 entries per week. It can take months before you are considered. A seasoned music publicist can help here. Their partnership can replace the process. Don't follow up. He or she will let you know if the music journalist can make the analysis. 4. Simplify and speed up the quicker results process. Cut all the information on analysis and media outlets. It can take you months to build and update your music media database continuously. Get a detailed, very inexpensive, indie music advertisement resource guide that already has the database for you and is formatted for immediate use. There are a few out there, but the Indie Bible is the most powerful guide for DIY music publicity. It is updated weekly and features the most extensive list of music media outlets that search your CD and play the radio. All in all, it's not easy to get effective media attention on your own for your project. If you have the budget for music promotion and music marketing, I would like to suggest that you employ a good indie music advertisement business. If you are a trustworthy PR company, the job will be done quicker and much more efficiently, and you will eventually get the results you need. Effective indie music marketing. What is the promotion of independent music? Yeah, you know that's something you must do, and that's what you must do. You remember it most of the time when you see it. But can you explain what it is at its basic level? And more importantly, can you explain the fundamentals of successful marketing of indie music? Because after all, it is easier to spend your time and resources on promotion, right? Don't worry if you can't answer this question quickly. So if you think you know the solution and feel that my investigation here is useless, don't get angry if you plan to read Ralph Sutton's music production blog and use it to create an indie music promotion plan. Here, you have to grasp the underlying concepts. These are basic components but are frequently brightened up by enthusiastic artists and musicians who only want to bring their name out. Having your name out is all right. It's better than not doing anything. But the uninterested promotion of indie music without emphasis and intent typically results in dissatisfaction and darkness. The solution: look under the hood and think about what is at the heart of every efficient marketing strategy for independent music. The promotion of indie music consists of these three elements. 1. Build visibility through action to convey your identity to a particular public. 2. Connect with an increasing number of fans and media and business contacts by creating and sustaining relationships. 3. Requests for the invest money. There they are, the three marketing phases. In short. Looks easy enough, okay? So why are so many marketers of independent music wrong? You invest time on one or two processes, but neglect the second or third. Or they're doing a bunch of marketing things, but didn't stop thinking long enough to find out how their actions fit into the three-stage phase. Would you like some examples? Have you ever seen a band or a label from indie run an ad that yells anything like that? Wake up call, me band's new CD, baby on iTunes and CD now. Only the band's name, the CD's name, and the fact that it is on sale now. Maybe you've even made such an ad or flyer yourself. What's wrong with the image? Well, the band is building publicity with this ad and is calling for the sale, but it leaves a whole essential stage and establishes ties with the fans. This mistake would be particularly unforgivable if the band used the only marketing tool. Why? Since customers normally need to be subjected to something repeatedly before they get their wallets. They also must feel a bond with the music and the artist. This ad doesn't make the relationship better, and that means wasted advertisement money. Have you ever met an artist, or were you in a good band to build recognition and maybe communicate with fans through their live shows? However, when they ask for the sale and produce cash flow, they drop the ball. They don't let people know that they still have CDs available, and that they don't make tempting deals for fans to purchase now. Again, only pieces of the puzzle are put together, and it's the bits missing that stop them from getting to the level of music they really want to be. To help you properly use the three stages of indie music marketing, we will discuss each stage next week to see how you can use each one most effectively. Indie music out of the closet. Indie music has a low profile and is not consistent with mainstream trends. The artists take pride in their creativity and their ability to flourish without compromising on their values in the cutting industry. But even the most persistent and dogged artists need some support and luck to break into the scene and build credibility for their people. Showcase events are a perfect way for artists to reach a large public, gain experience, and create an indie reputation. The Independent Music World Series is one of the biggest indie music showcases in the United States. Tony Van Veen, one of the largest backers for sales and promotions, notes that independent musicians play a better role in keeping the music industry vigorous and prosperous. IMWS maintains that the showcase is a quest to uncover and reward genuine talent, rather than a popularity contest. Giving their popularity as an indie show, artists of all genres are welcome to join. The jury of judges consists of 12 experts from the music industry. Artists are judged by their skill in songwriting, their originality, their musical performance, their performance of vocal and principal instruments, as well as their overall vibe. The Palais des Festivals in Cannes, France, are also showcase events. The festival includes talent showcases, a track of conferences, and networking activities. The showcases are intended to provide a forum for emerging artists and to teach new promotional strategies to artists and their managers. All those interested in getting music to the public, including television programmers and recording firms, are searching for new patterns and sounds. The Charlotte NC Mid-Atlantic Music Conference has risen in prominence and reputation since its inception. Artists of all kinds have to apply to win one of the 30 coveted slots for the final show at the Halton Theatre. Talented scouts and music managers attending the conference send them an outstanding review and take advantage of the opportunity to enroll and label upcoming musicians. The Steamtown Music Showcase was introduced in September 2006 by John Phillips and Brian Banks. Eastern Pennsylvanian bands use this showcase to demonstrate their ability to compose original music and songs. The event takes place every year in a different location. This year, the award goes to Pennsylvania, Scranton City Center. Showcase events are important if new artists are to become part of the music industry. It offers them the opportunity to gain experience in stage performance. They can even look at a music promoter or label producer looking in indie sound for the next big thing. As an artist, what must you lose? How much can you gain? Indie music. The brave new world? There are many speculations about the emergence of the indie market for new music, as with any new development. Of course, no one knows for 100% certainty, but if history is the right indicator, then 5 years down the road, a lot of the speculation turns out to be wrong. Although Jim was one of the speculators, he does not have special powers to look to the future, so no guarantee that he is correct. Fortunately, few will remember those who were wrong with their forecasts. Indeed, few will remember the right ones because, by that time, we have all gone on to something more compelling. It won't matter anymore unless we are historians. He doesn't have any interest to look back to say if he's right or wrong. He has an interest in the music industry, however. Firstly, he believes that understanding the forces that exist is important. Most of us understand the power of money and influence in this music business, so it makes real sense for us to take that into account. In other words, money and influence will remain a factor. There is, however, a new force in the city that will change the overall structure of the previous infrastructure. The big difference, as we all know, is the formation of mass communication, new digital media, and resulting capacity for file sharing. Today, a person has the potential to reach as many people as big men. I said potential, please note. Having a great product or a great song for a songwriter doesn't mean that everyone's going to hear it. The new model continues to move under our feet as we explore ways to make our music heard. Despite the changing landscape, the big names in music continue to have an advantage. Songwriters and bands that have huge followers already have names, so that they can step out of the traditional box and have a lot of existing power and influence. We all heard about the great experiment from Radiohead, and we all know it worked for them. Radiohead decided, should you not know, to split its label and create an independent CD. They offered it online and only asked people to give what they thought it worth. People reacted by giving money. Why did it work? It worked because we knew them already. It also worked because much of the traditional system infrastructure was removed, and profit margins improved significantly. However, this fair is to say that the traditional infrastructure of the old music business made the recognition of the Radiohead brand possible in the beginning. The point is, don't let us move too quickly, assuming it works for us. Most of us do not have Radiohead's name recognition. Therefore, without some assistance, we are less likely to succeed. The major publishers and labels are also still advantageous. Their advantage continues to be deep pockets from which they can obtain promotional resources, etc. They also have huge partner networks that trust in their ability to make profitable deals. With existing larger organizations with proven track records, corporate sponsors, advertisers, and distributors will continue to see a lower risk. New players in this market will take years to emerge. That is, before the credibility of the traditional system can succeed, a new online label or publisher needs to demonstrate some success. This system is changing too, but it won't change overnight. He thinks it's a bit naive to assume the new players won't change the process. That is, they will start to look like the old players, as the old players start to look like the new players. In the meantime, we see an occasional breakup of indie artists who give us the hope of our music for the future. Ingrid Michaelson is the best example of indie's success if you think it was unknown before. The indie artist's label is very defined, so we have to carefully understand the distinctions between an indie artist, who is considered a non-mainstream artist, and an indie artist, who is genuinely independent about the availability of resources. He does not know of a successful and genuinely independent artist. For some success, an artist usually needs assistance somewhere along the way. The source of the aid is difficult to know, as it is less likely to be published, but he claims that the aid nonetheless exists. In Ingrid Michelson's case, she was really happy she played her song on a commercial, Old Navy. How did that occur? With 100% certainty, he doesn't know, but he doubts it's just Ingrid. He believes that in the whole process, she had some assistance. It is very difficult to forecast a complex and competitive environment such as the music market, comprising of the general public and the music industry. There are several factors, and again, powers need to be considered. But what's the future going to look like now? Somewhere in the middle, there will be a meeting between the remaining conventional musical models and the perfect indie music model created by the people for the people. We also see a change in the tactics of the big guys to use the internet for their benefit. This is expected. While some people continue to rage against the influence of capital, the money will inevitably find a position, despite idealism. It only makes sense that capital is a force that needs to be properly considered. Otherwise, we'd see people make their own car brand. Some sectors, like the automotive industry, have more capital-intensive, but the comparison is true. In these turbulent times, various sectors will shift, but the collective aspect of selling high-quality goods remains in place. While capital helps to produce flashy, high-quality products, something new and exciting has a growing taste. Many people are tired of formal music. Now we hear new rhythms and sounds that give us new feelings. Sadly, they set most of their eggs in the basket to help the same old types that have been repacked. Indeed, our taste as listeners seems to be little regarded. This will change as well, but it will also be very slow. Most labels have discontinued their prior practice of producing new artists entirely. This has now moved to a cherry-picking framework between new and emerging artists who begin to show signs of independent success. So, at some stage in your career, independent artists are now given a choice. Do you want to continue as so-called independents, or do you want a bigger sponsor who can help you on a much larger scale? The division between the indie artist and the signed artist is very great until you recognize some of the newly emerging help systems. In other words, the divide is filled by several people who offer support. A multitude of services is now available online, which can help you as an artist. Most of these programs are available at a charge. There will be a time of enthusiasm because of the legitimate perception of new opportunities as in any new business. The unavoidable overflow will also occur. Systems appear to run in stages, and there will be no other new infrastructure. That is, service delivery would go beyond the real requirement, which will lead sometime in the future to a pendulum swing in the opposite direction. The remaining programs are those that have something to show for the associated costs. That is, services offered will continue to thrive, although other services will gradually vanish. It's already getting somewhat noticeable, but it takes a few years to shake. It's fascinating to me that money is the one thing that is lacking in the middle between 100% self-employed artists and 100% dependent artists. Finally, someone has to understand that money is the missing link on two levels. First of all, money is required for artists to survive on a personal level. There is no use in delivering services to people who have no money to spend on their own jobs. Secondly, there is a need for more than an internet presence at the business level to actually provide artists with services. That is, it's important to have more than just a website. Indie labels are good examples of capital-intensive services which an artist can provide. This is so obvious. However, many of the other programs need more equipment than a computer. Finally, all of the programs ought to play on the ground. For instance, a significant difference occurs between running a website and being able to show up in person and represent an artist properly. Eventually, enterprising music entrepreneurs fill these voids. However, there needs to be more focus on money and the ground game before it really makes sense. Finally, seed capital should be made available to promising musicians. In other words, an artist who has enough musical collateral should have more options to grow his career and earning potential. In those times, it's becoming very difficult to find investment money. However, conventional investments may not be as appealing in this brave new world as we go forward. Most of us recall when Dow Industrials firms had very little risk of failure. This is no longer true of today's global economy. So why not build a fund to invest at least a portion of the money in aspiring artists' careers? This kind of fund may also have ways of investing artists in their future. In a different model, private investors will provide seed capital for a return on their investment by choosing individual artists. Naturally, for it to work, the agreement must be contractual. Guess what? This is already available as publishers and brands. However, there will be a new market for funding between unknown artists and stardom in this middle ground. This funding would be required to bridge the gap between service availability and support requirements. There is, of course, a paradigm of pure public sentiment in which the more people listen to social networks, the better music bubbles upwards. This model is somewhat accurate, but it is also not ideal, given the large number of uploads to choose from. The chances remain diminishing as more people try to break out through the internet. The founders of this medium had a much better shot as the competition was much smaller. It should now be clear that the number of people has risen to make it as difficult to remember as before the internet. Like utilities, musicians also have to play on the field. That is, instead of relying solely on an internet presence, artists must be able to perform regularly. Finally, I'd like to think that a big song will create ample energy to break out because of its merits, but is an idealist who still lingers from my childhood, who wants to make the good of it regardless of how our system functions. Unfortunately, our society is too reliant on the flow of money to allow lucky breaks to defy the odds by over a fraction of a percent. In the meantime, I wouldn't recommend throwing away money to try and build a career in music. Instead, developing partnerships while continuing to establish a portfolio of work makes sense for artists. We all understand the value of a network of fellow artists, but it makes sense for artists to establish relationships with people in music over time. Chapter 3. How most independent music artists make money. Let us face it, selling and making money isn't easy, especially when you're a self-employed musician. Not that you are not a good musician, but because you do not know how to sell yourself and market yourself properly. 10 years ago, this assertion may not be valid but it's easy to create digital music, thanks to iTunes and internet technology. And every day, thousands of independent musicians add to the wagon, and the industry become more complex and more competitive. When they sign a deal with the big boys of the music industry, singers will consider their careers successful. Sadly, many singers will never see this good degree because they don't know the basic keys. And what does that mean for an autonomous artist like you? Do you want to throw the floral vase into a mirror and smash it into pieces like your dream that will be broken off after all the hard work you have gone in vain and won't make you any success or wealth? Want you to feel you're not worth it just because some other musicians far more talented than you and your luck and fame have gotten way? Or you just want to sit and feel like yourself? No. If you don't know how to love yourself and believe in yourself, you won't make it anyway. The main and most important thing is to believe in yourself and fight until your last breath left your body. As the saying goes, fittest survival. There's an infinite amount, just like you, of cats and dogs who want to make this thing happen badly. But now you already know there's a jungle. Either you eat others or others eat you for dinner. So if it's not 100% heart, you're wasting time, and you should pack it in. Rules. 1. Do you know your niche? Before you begin marketing, you need to know who and what is your niche. You need to know what kind of girls like your music. Is it the younger crowd or the fan crowd? You need to know all the knowledge you have about your listeners and the people who care about their age, occupation, sex, furniture. The easiest way to find your style is to play your music in local clubs from where you can see what kind of music makes people groove into their things. Don't be shy, and you must be a social person, as you have always been. Make friends with DJs, dancers, and others who have the same passion as you, for they are the ones who will help you succeed. People would say right away if they liked your song or music more seriously, prepare their reviews and work accordingly. Since I know of a talented artist and a singer who has built his personality, trust me, this guy is so social that people can dance to his music whether they like it or not, because he includes people in his music and songs so much that they like it. 2. Create your online presence. The internet is one of the world's most effective ways of interacting and sensing your presence. Create your bio page and show your music on it, to make you know like you are and what your music really is like. Make good use of social networking websites such as Facebook, Twitter, Orkut, to make it possible for people of common interests to communicate with you at all times, and also to develop your fan base. Create a landing page. The landing page provides important information for the user. These can view text, pictures, dynamic link compilations, or other components. Run your blog, write insightful articles about your shows and the stuff you do like gossip, and that's the best way to make people hear you. 3. Make sales. Once you have created a certain repository in the market, you must get your music, work licensed first, and copyright from the relevant authorities. Build a payment system for people to shop online on your website. You can also use the payment acceptance scheme from third parties, but you would be prepared to share a portion of your sales. Make use of affiliate marketing services to increase the sales of music CDs. Build an account with iTunes and upload your music to the city for music enthusiasts worldwide. Send your music newsletters to your fan list and give them special discounts if they order your music or albums, and always try to increase your fan list. If you have a small budget in your possession, send your site URL to all major search engines, including Google. Consider shooting a music video to be posted to youtube.com, as it creates a range of potential music guides and fans. The 360 record label deal. Bane or boon for the independent music artist. There is an old saying, truly under the sun there is nothing new. In its purest form, this relatively modern record-setting race is simply the reincarnation of an ancient and infamous film industry that, in its early years, permeated the movie industry. It includes managing and owning a portion of any imaginable facet of the work and the sources of income of the act. In recent years, there are exposure to the 360 contracts, also known as the multi-right deal, and a lot of controversy around it. It is instructive to make a subtle but significant distinction between the terms record label agreement and record contract when discussing this issue. The first means a contract with a label. The second does not actually imply this. This distinction is of tremendous significance to today's artists, as almost every form of the player in the music industry, and even some other parties, are jumping into the fray to sign artists these days. What raises the question, why this trend? Many business people have discovered that music rights are a potential goldmine, and these people recognize that optimum benefit arises from the most efficient means of extraction in this industry, which means that the artist and his music have ample control rights to maximize the opportunity, ready and lucrative, which may arise. Back in 2002, the remarkable all-inclusive deal with EMI by Robbie Williams brought this phenomenon to the fore. Before this, record deals were usually recorded deals for perhaps one or another source of income for the company's benefit, such as publication or merchandise. The deal of Williams has earned EMI a share of almost every income stream of his career. Such all-in transactions are increasingly popular for acts of a big name. For artists of this ilk to consider such a contract, companies must surely lift their profile with higher advances and royalty rates. More and more new artists are being courted by 360-type records from the majors, independent labels, and others such as film studios, artist management agencies, concert promoters, entertainment lawyers. Independent music promotion on the web. 3 steps to success. Take it in. A large array of possibilities and costs has been generated by the expansion of web-based websites designed to introduce independent music in the world. And where do both of them balance out? When does it result from the costs of signing up for another music promotion service? Anyway, what results are we looking for? Your website promotion must be targeted, systematic, and wealthy. What is the biggest push to market their music on the web for independent artists? The basic motivation for online promotion is the chance to have your music heard by people who otherwise might never know you exist. If people know that you are there, they will become fans and rehearsers when fans purchase CDs and downloads from these. Targeted listeners. The key objective of web marketing is to draw targeted listeners. Any independent artist who advises you to use the web to sell music has overlooked the main objective to draw targeted listeners. Attracting targeted listeners should be the priority for any independent artist. Note, you're not selling your music. Fans are buying your music. It's a competition for investors. The more targeted listeners you have, the more sales you generate, if you get your target audience systematically. The best way to meet targeted hearers is to be systematic. Many musicians prefer to approach their online marketing because they have a website and a few artists' showcases pages, but listeners can just come in. Yeah, some potential listeners were targeted, but you still have got to cry, "Oh, here, you're going to like the sound of this." A structured approach to hearing your music attracts and sustains your attention, but don't forget to make sure you have the material ready for the listener. Content-rich sites hold your intended listener. The rich quality of the independent artist is music, but look at the many independent artist websites that offer the visitor loads of band detail, but very little, or very hidden, ear candy. The first thing a visitor gets should be music. At least you need an obvious link to where you can listen to your music. And not just 1 or 2 bits, but a whole selection of your songs. Independent artists should note that they did not have radio exposure to model their music after more known events. Listeners must be persuaded that they like your independent music before they purchase it. So the question is, how do you aim systematically and richly promote your web? Tips for targeting. The greatest target audience on the web is the ones that hit your pages. Check for a way to know who they are. Develop a newsletter and make signing up easy. You are hardcore web fans and keep them glad enough to receive news about you. The next strongest team of targeted listeners are those on other platforms that hear your songs. Try to select websites to link listeners to your website. You could click on the link to visit your website if you like your music. Then you will figure out where these tourists come from. Find a decent web analytics kit that helps you to know the places your guests are visiting. Take notice of these pages and concentrate your attention on them. When selecting places to promote your music, check to see if they provide individual music stats, like how many tracks or pages you and your music get. This allows you to review and track your performance regularly on these pages. Systemic steps. The organization is the secret to being systematic. Keep a short overview of what you do and how much it costs on all the places you use to promote your music. Try to track both of them daily. Notice which sites produce better results than others, and concentrate your efforts accordingly. On one website, you could pay for a nominal promotion, while another site provides you with free listeners. Of course, you want to do more to upgrade pages that produce better outcomes. Provide a link to all websites that you use to promote your music on your website and newsletters. Know that your visitors to your website are your hardcore web fans, and most likely to check out your location on other websites and spread it. Encourage your profile users to other websites. By doing this, increases your numbers on these websites and at least makes your music more popular. Try creating a ring of websites that connect through the content you provide. You can have your music on your website and two other sites, Site A and Site B. For example, without question, your site should be connected to Site A and Site B. Page A should link to your website, and Page B should link to your website and Site A, etc. What if you do not allow these sites to set up links to other sites? Please enter a web address in the areas where content can be given, such as blogs or explanations. The goal of linking all your sites is to provide your listeners with different access points to your music, and access to various ways in which your music can be distributed. Remember to connect to your page on the web and not just your site. Your website, which is linked with a site that plays your tracks on the web radio and is linked to a website that sells your downloads, offers a powerful combination of publicity. Be wealthy without money. This is the challenge facing most independent artists. The traditional approach in the sale of music is that it should not be accessible too quickly if the motivation for listeners to purchase albums is compromised. This convinced the independent artists to restrict web listeners to snippets of low-quality audio streaming. Independent musicians must note that the shotgun method of spraying their music over radio and music television is not sponsored by their wealth and finances. Big artists have behind them big businesses that must pay for the exposure of mass media, and thus try to restrict the degree to which they can sample their music on the internet. Listeners have heard the music already and try to locate their copy. On the other hand, listeners had no opportunity to listen to independent artists from traditional media. Independent musicians also cannot presume that people will purchase music from a website unless they already have a chance to listen to it. If people have heard and liked the music of an artist, their benefit is to have a copy that they can perform whenever they like. If people haven't heard the music of an artist, then the value is that the music should be sampled as much as possible. Being Rich offers the fans as much of your music as they want to hear before they buy it. Now, you don't need to download all your tracks free of charge, but you can have decent, full-length streams that impress the listener and boost sound. Not tight snips that lose the audience because they are lo-fi and finished before they draw attention. Being Rich also makes the music accessible to diverse audiences in several formats. If fans are told that they can hear your music through internet radio, streams on request, MP3 downloads, and mail-order CDs, you can call listeners who like more than one kind of media. You can also use website marketing to go beyond playing and selling. Suggest licensing. The licensing of your music for use in TV, film, ads, blogs, video play, and other multimedia can open up your listening audience, provide you with revenue, and provide your career with a level of professionalism that attracts the attention of industry leaders and A&R. Adding this depth to your website marketing helps to improve your music presentation and keep your listeners targeted. 4 tips for new musical artists who are just getting started. Much has been adjusted in the world of music over the past 10 to 15 years. In the past, an artist had to grow his talents and hope they would be noticed at a local gig, or hope they would get lucky and meet some people who took time to get their talent recognized and appreciated. Yeah, that's no longer the norm. It can still happen, but the chances are much worse than at the moment. That sounds probably bad news, huh? Well, it's not. Why? Since artists have so many other ways to communicate with their fans and so many opportunities to advertise now, you don't have to wait to be discovered. You have the option to make your own luck, and that's a wonderful place for this author. Naturally, that means a lot of hard work, maybe more work than before. You must be both artist and promoter, artistic talent, and a business person now. But, as I claim and sincerely believe, without great sacrifice, no great reward comes. It's kind of cool because it means you've certainly won it when you do it. So in this post, I'd like to talk about 4 things each new artist should do and know before they start. Better still, these 4 values can be held throughout your career, no matter how high. 1. You need a dream. This, boys, is unnegotiable. You better make it a dream if you want something in life, especially anything that you don't have now, and something that will take a lot of hard work and dedication. We hope that we look the hardest and struggle the most. What's a fantasy then? Is it just a need, a desire? No, a dream is a blend of desire and need, a simple objective supported by a deep, almost overpowering need for emotions. Dreams aren't just stuff we want. It's stuff we must have, or we're just going to die. If you can turn your musical career into such a desire, you will have taken a major step towards success. 2. Try specific tip. Singer Frankie Beverly once said, "You could never fall for the flavor of the week on a prize show. Do what you know. That's because it's exactly what we believe. When you were a little bit just to mimic another person and get lost in a sea of the same old thing, you did not get into music or fall in love with him. You've got a very distinct tone. Sure, several music genres from rock and pop to reggae and hip-hop have been inspired, but you don't just copy or pretend to sound like someone else, and you shouldn't either. Nothing is wrong with making a song that seems to match well with your genre's current sounds. There is a fine line between fitting and duplication. Often it's difficult, but it's possible. Think about all the great musicians you loved over the years, and how distinctive their sounds are, yet how their whole job has its own taste, a taste you can pick up. This is the best way to build your songs. 3. Understand the business. Once you are independent, at least for a bit, you need to wear all the hats. Eventually, you can hook up with a tiny record label or a company, or some that can add their talents. However, no matter what, all facets of the art should be understood. You must be more than a lyricist and a guitarist. You should also be conscious of engineering. Know how to combine your songs and master them. You should learn the business side, how to manage yourself as a corporation, negotiate charges and hold accounts, etc. And you really should understand marketing. And you really should. Marketing is even more critical than your talent, because it is how you come out of it and make people like you. Marketing, publishing, and engineering might not be the fun part of music, but they will make you get up on the stage and make sure you have plenty of cheering fans to enjoy what you have. 4. Consider taking it seriously. It's fun. Music is fun, isn't it? It's awesome to compose and make music, get on the stage and perform and sing and dance. There's nothing like it. Nothing like it. but that's the reward of some hard work, determination, and yes, pain. That's right, and if you want to hit that height, you'll have to suffer a little. Take your career in music seriously. Treat it like a job, or even better, a business. Concentrate on what you can do and where you can behave. You may have to work 2 jobs, but that's worth it. And one day, when you are good, you're just going to have a great story to tell about your rise. We might talk about these tips and many more, but for another post, I'm going to save it. Keep these 4 in mind and you will start well. Do you know what's cool about it? This success, not someone else, is calculated by you. You will hit the stage where you are a regional star, and every month you play medium-sized venues, sell hundreds of t-shirts, CDs, and music downloads, and make pretty decent money. Some artists would be happy to do what they enjoy for $40 or $50 a year, and that's the big part you must do. This form of success can be achieved, and it just builds on itself until you get there. So continue to dream, build, and shoot the stars again. And note, this is Chatty B to the boom. Artist management. Is a music management consultant a good alternative for the independent artist? In today's independent musical world, artists are totally responsible for performance. It is practically up to them to do anything. This includes music marketing, partnerships with the music media, promotion of music, and distribution, you name it. You find yourself as an individual artist to do it all by yourself. While it is a very good idea to be an active partner in the business of promoting your music and your career in music, which is your business after all, you may face many obstacles to success. These challenges are very clear. Your time will be spent much more as an artist performing and recording at the creative end of your musical career. You might lack the requisite connections and advertisement contacts to advance your music career properly. Or it can simply be that you are overwhelmed by everything and just don't know where to start. If you have tried to get the attention of a well-connected artist manager or group manager who regularly provides or connects you to these facilities, you may find yourself stuck in a brick wall. There was a time in the music industry, and many years ago, a man wasn't so hard to get representation from a reputable, well-linked management company with standard remuneration for their management services being the usual 20% commission off its top end. Some respectable creative managers, like some major record labels, have trusted in the belief that if the artist really has a great deal of talent and believed in them, they are more likely to spend their time and resources further promoting and supporting an artist or band. Naturally, this leads to speculation. An investor might do anything. Let be sure, creative managers are not investors. I would ask you to imagine the immense rivalry you as an independent artist are facing in the world of music today, with literally hundreds of thousands and possibly millions of independent artists who strive to expose and accelerate their careers in the same way, on similar levels. Speculating on such chances is not something that a reputable management company is prepared to do, or even a smaller independent record label is prepared to do. Before an independent major or high-level record label, a new artist will even consider signing a recording deal or contract, finding and anticipating nothing less than a fully produced act. The artist must already have a large fan base, a big tour history, a huge media buzz, and a significant story and evidence of independent album sales. The same applies to a reputed artist management company where a commission-based roster signature applies. Now there's still, of course, your good friend Johnny or Alyssa, or your mom or dad who loves you so much and will be your manager. How far will Johnny, Alyssa, mom, and dad get you? You should do it yourself. If you have a serious interest in speeding up your musical career, and you do not or cannot do so yourself for many of the reasons mentioned in this section, then you need some professional representation or guidance. In this scenario, a short-term temporary artist management manager will give you the promotional services you need. A short-term management consultant may fill the void and play an important role, as it's a very good move if you find an artist manager with a high level in the credit-worthiness of the music industry, contacts, and experience who will respectfully advise and represent you in all facets of your music career without any contractual obligation. Artist management consultants are becoming an increasingly popular avenue for single brickworkers and musicians to obtain all of the advantages of a well-connected boss while still a little underdeveloped and not completely trained for rosters. Most music industry advisors work with you either on a retainer or on an hourly basis to help you speed up your music career. When your work has been promoted to an appropriate degree of buzz, some of them will even change the arrangement to a commission-based roster scenario at your request. So, an artist with potential should seriously consider the direction of an artist management consultant at earlier stages of his career and take advantage of its many advantages. If you are fortunate enough to buy the services of a reputable musicians management company or band manager based on a fee basis, then you can consider doing so after you have, of course, thoroughly checked them out and before you sign a long-term contract. The harsh reality of this case, however, when you might be at the beginning to an intermediate stage of your music career, is slim to none, especially if at least you or your band have not met any or most of the conditions described above. By establishing a trustworthy professional music management consultant who will work tirelessly on behalf of you and achieve results in the development of your music career, you will receive a small conservation or advice fee. In the long term, he or she will help you to advance your career, potentially open doors, and encourage the interest of well-known booking officers, skilled roster-based management firms, record labels, music publication companies, and opportunities for music licensing. Hiring a short-term artist and seasoned management or music business manager to represent, advise, promote, and market your music career professionally at the early to the mid stages can be a perfect alternative to the traditional roster-based management engagement, which is almost impossible to accomplish at the beginning to the mid stages of growth. One of the comforts of hiring an interim consultant is that if you are not pleased with or can't afford your manager's results, you can fire him or her at any time. You cannot fire a management company based on the roster that has an ironclad arrangement with you. The basic idea behind the principle of beginning with or taking an artist management consultant into your mid-level stage of growth is to counsel, improve, and promote your music career to the point where you become more appealing to a reputable roster-based management company and record label. Or you can potentially change the terms of your temporary arrangement with your management consultant and commit to managing a commission-based roster with your consultant, who should be an artist manager with serious experience and contacts in this area. The beauty of this possibility is that you have built the foundations of trust, loyalty, and appreciation in your previous working partnership with your management consultant. This is important in any artist-manager relationship. You will know with tranquility before signing a 2 to 4 year management contract, essentially like a marriage, exactly how effective your boss is for you and what kind of activities you can expect to pass forward as already demonstrated. Chapter 4. The Journey of a Music Artist. Music is something that goes beyond human love and dislikes. Everyone likes it, although the genre can be different. Some people may like the classical music style or hip-hop and rock style. There are also other genres of music such as band stars, indie music, jazz, etc. Several music artists participated in the music that shook the world with their talents. There is always an urge to be a rock star or famous music artist in every mind, but the heart-throbbing isn't so fast. There is a long way to go before one can claim to be an established music artist. Many challenges are getting in the way of becoming a rock star. He's never made a great music artist, and he is born. The genes of music are present in his blood from the very beginning and lead him down the path of music. Family history plays an important role in this context. Then it takes years to learn from deep insight to know music. Anybody in the world can sing. Some of them can sing better, but it's only the musicians who can sing and play rhythmical music. A music artist may have mastered all the lessons, but the actual verve starts when he reaches the real world. It can be easy to study music, but it's not so easy to make yourself a music performer. Circumstances and the prevalence of tough competition begin to drag you out. People are always drawn to a special personality, and the new music artist finds it very difficult to draw attention to himself. Money shortages are generally seen as a significant trigger behind an artist. If some will live, it takes years to handle the hype. It takes years. And with some poor luck, if the performance doesn't stay the same, the journey ends before the start. It is commonly seen that new music artists are often mistaken or deceptive, rather than taking them close to their destination. This stage, therefore, requires much concentration and discipline so that you stay concentrated on what you are built for. How to become a popular country music artist. A few decades ago, any young artist who wants to make it big in the music business will have to struggle every day to get supporters. You can only be at your house these days to make your music. You can also show your music to people via the internet. If you want to be the next country music star, you don't have to play from bar to bar. You may use various ways to let people know about your musical talent. Yet singing songs and playing at pubs, weddings, and other places will improve your chances. It's also nice to move to a town that is very involved in this music. As a country music artist, there can be no better place to start in Nashville. Aspiring musicians and popular artists have learned in one way or another how country music should be here. Apart from the cash, you can get to perform at a small concert, and you can also use this opportunity to get other people to know you and your music. Depending on the day of the week, you will get from the shows you are going to play. Weddings, birthdays, and other events in need of your services can sometimes be a good source of income for you. You don't just love the crowd with your music when you get the chance to sing. You should also strive to remind them by improving your skills. You must be as charming as you can. Take this as a chance to exercise your skills in music and performance. The best way to begin is to write your music. Keep improving the type of music you've made. Find information and encouragement to change every time. You may play other popular songs by others, but make it a point to play the ones you have composed. Trying to make a song that is sexy and interesting should be one of the tasks you have to perform. This could be your audience's only way to get to know your song, even though they don't have ample access to it. Create the song's digital copies, even though you don't have any record label. This is your way of showing your music to producers of music. You can also send your songs to people who want to hear them. What every music artist needs to know about crowdfunding. Often referred to as fan funding, type financing, or micro-patronage, or other such terms, crowdfunding can be characterized as a public fundraising operation through individual donations facilitated by a fundraising campaign on one website or another. Some third-party fundraising sites, such as Kickstarter and Indiegogo, have gained the most publicity nowadays, but it is reported that now there are more than 500 crowdfunding platforms across the globe, serving people and organizations in almost every regard. The crowdfunding definition is very easy at its core. You publish the idea on a website designed to accept submissions, spread the word you can, and hope people are interested enough in it to contribute. There are several forms of crowdfunding models in general, but only 3 of them apply to the independent artist: the donation model, the investment model, and the micro-rights model. The donation model is based on the assumption that donors give to a project without expecting any return, although there are typically other types of donation incentives available, a perk such as a personal letter of thanks from the creator, updates, previews, or whatever. More benefits are given very much to encourage bigger donations. This model typically includes most money from many contributors who make relatively small donations. The artist's contributions will generally be to an audio or video recording project, a tournament, or something that the artist needs to follow his career, such as a piece of equipment. No two of this ilk's crowdfunding services function the same way, although they usually allowed the developers to retain all the money raised throughout the campaign, minus a relatively small commission. The investment model reflects capital in exchange for a guarantee of equal or higher value in exchange. There can be several types, the most common being loan agreements and advance sales of the item, but also share ownership. The micro-rights model helps artists in their works with music goods, or tours, to raise money in exchange for the profit share they receive on the subsequent sale of a product, or tickets, by selling their rights, the license, to individuals or organizations. These may be entrepreneurs who want to make money, or nonprofit organizations who want to raise money for their business or cause, and they may be able to go as far as to plan an event for the performer. The donation model is the most common form of crowdfunding, with well over $500 million raised in 2011 in this way. It is a major innovation for the artist because it was a real departure from the conventional patronage model of previous times, when it was almost exclusively the rich who funded artistic works. The other models are maybe less creative than adaptive and suitable for current financing concepts in the web sphere's networking environment. There are all kinds of variants and even combinations of the above models, and strategies, procedures, and roles different from location to location. For example, if you don't have a designated monetary goal, others will not release the funds to you and will return everyone's money. Other people will allow you to retain everything earned. There are two choices. Thus, to establish which model and which of a multitude of third-party sites are the best for you until committed to a specific site, you can evaluate both your own needs and the merits of the site. In this regard, it helps to understand and determine such aspects as the website's performance record, what other complementary services it can provide, the roles of its processes, the responsibilities of the artist, its privacy policy, its protocol, and terms of the agreement, what guarantees are in place to secure donations from misappropriation when managing them, and so on. Interestingly, musicians have opted to circumvent these crowdfunding intermediaries and communicate directly with the public and to use their website, social media, and any other support they may. In that case, an extra degree of confidence must be formed between the artist and potential contributors, as if they had acquired an established third-party website. The upside is that there are no commissions to pay, and you set your own rules of engagement. Moreover, the entire marketing campaign would attract customers to your website, not third parties' ones. Crowds have performed very well in this way with certain acts. Some people have the illusion that raising money through crowdfunding platforms is rather a slam dunk, similar to the rather naive mindset that some have towards their website. Just create it and it will come. In reality, you need to have a sound plan to raise money and be careful to execute it so that it works for you. Crowdfunding is no different from other fundraising strategies in this regard, but it needs commitment and something about you or your music. The final consideration of this whole issue relates to the potential legal implications of facilitating financial transactions through a third-party crowdfunding platform. The artist should preferably practice due diligence to ensure that he or she is covered and indemnified against any misrepresentation, negligence, misappropriation of money, and copyright patent abuse of the web. Consider, for example, the potential repercussions if an artist used a crowdfunding platform to be sued by another site on a patent infringement problem. If the defense site were to be lost or a court order given to cease and withdraw, it could remove the site from the operation and throw the artist's financing effort into limbo. It might also jeopardize donations from funds already owned by this site. Kickstarter has been engaged in a major legal conflict with Artist Share on the alleged violation of Artist Share's crowdfunding patent at the time of this writing, It'll be fun to see how this happens. The laws of music industry for independent hip-hop artists. Performance in the hip-hop industry with millions of dollars doesn't work like in the movies. Independent artists often post their music online in the hope of success for the night. Although that can happen, it also takes years of hard work, preparation, and luck. You don't even need a huge mark today to succeed. However, certain rules must be followed for independent hip-hop artists to achieve success in the industry. Study what's winning. Make sure you have all kinds of trackable stuff that you can sell while formulating your strategy for success. Major record labels are not to promote artists with these kinds of solid numbers. This includes online download figures, independent album or song sales, the online presence of websites and blogs in the common industry, views on YouTube, tours, etc. Particularly significant is an endorsement by existing artists. All these things work not only for you if you want to sign, but also as an independent artist, and these numbers work well for you. Strategic use of your capital. One of the best things to know while you are looking for success in music is that you can keep your bills fed and have a roof over your head. It can interfere with your creativity if you have no money at all. Not every artist has a charity to cover most or all his expenses. You need to learn how to handle your resources, regardless of how limited they seem to you right now. The less you deal with, the more you learn to handle and do your best. It will teach you how to make every little bit bigger, an ability that works only for you when you later accumulate more capital. Maintain your artistic vision and push. Your imagination is the power to identify you as an unsigned hip-hop artist. Find out what separates you from all others and focus on that. There will be several moments where things look outstanding, so you must maintain this push to avoid suspicions from being lazy and/or finally giving up. How to keep this push going is clearly to describe your vision as an artist. The performance of the night is a myth. Be realistic, and remember that trial and error are just part of the game. By continuously working out what works best for you, you will finally grow into the artist that you were always meant to be. Create your best songs. Recall that the success of the industry always starts with music. You must communicate with your audience, or in the music business, you won't find any success. Obviously, when the music is good, song promotion becomes much simpler. It is most important to analyze how strangers respond to your music. Your friends and family sometimes say what they think helps, not necessarily what they really want. It's not convenient, or everybody's going to do it. Success can be such an unfortunate work, but you could eventually become one of the lucky few who hit the top of the hip-hop music ladder. Become a multitasking master. Independent or not, your performance lies with you at the end of the day. Learning how to become a multitask master or a big responsibility delegator is a major part of success. If you want to sign or not, remain online and find people who appreciate your brand as an artist. By getting people on a page on your squad, you can do a lot, even with just a handful of people. Promoting a music artist is a hard job, but your team will make sure your vision and the message of your product are consistent. Independence importance. While there are the few who are popular with the signing of a major label, it is very important to remain an unsigned artist and independent. Nothing about brands, but you are automatically subject to their laws and whims when you sign with a company. Stay independent as long as you can work for yourself. The more you and your brand are created, the more long-term you manage them. Create your brand and team. There is no perfect blueprint for independent recording artists to succeed, but one thing that always works is to create and build your brand name as an artist. A talented team will ultimately produce music that can sell itself to establish and grow your brand. Hard work and modesty and realism. Every success comes with a bit of luck, and for unsigned artists, this is no different. Keep a good head and be humble and rational. Don't give trends or just imitate everyone else. Don't get a bloated ego most of all. Work harder, not only with your words, with your actions. And do not be a spammer when you push your brand and your music, of course. Online presence and physical presence balance. It is essential to be an online presence on websites and social media, but good old-fashioned networks and performances are not beaten. The two are balanced by how you create a loyal fan base. You can't just spam the internet and hope to see and hear you. Know the company. It's just because you have written, performed, and produced a song that no one owes you anything. You must be able to sell tickets or some other product. If not, what venue or sponsors would you like? The promotion of music as an independent artist can indeed be done on a limited budget, but you always need to learn how to invest in your music business properly. If you don't invest in your company, your music is just a hobby. If you are looking for a major record deal, your business will require an often investment, if not hundreds, thousands of dollars. You need this kind of investment to produce the returns labels expect when signing artists. Investing in your own indie music company is, therefore, smarter because you can still make substantial revenues with less money invested. You can collect everything you invested in this way. Be visible and compatible. When selling any product, especially music, it is most important to remain visible. And if you need to play free shows to get ads, you can. Even if it's just in front of family and friends, the one way to master your craft is to perform consistently. Get your songs recorded once you have your songs down. Should you upload them to YouTube and make them into videos? Yes, not only because certain sensations come out of it. Yes, this essentially means that you're giving away your music, but it's worth it. You have to be able to connect, especially when sharing your product on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. You must keep up with the contest and get your word out. Once people enter your music, they will help you spread the word. While the music industry's daily grind is very challenging, learning how to handle ups and downs will shape your eventual success as an independent hip-hop artist. 3 tips on how to become a popular music artist. In today's rapidly developing music industry, you will surely find a producer who will give you good beats, find affordable instruments to fit your budget, and have an audience to perform. It becomes quickly tiring when you do the job of looking for a good beat manufacturer that has the style and resources you are looking for and collecting fans. That's why this gives you 3 tips on how to quickly become a top music artist. The first tip is to access a computer and check some manufacturers online. There are a few beat makers who daily post their beats for you, the artist. The beats are around $19. They all have a license agreement to go with the beats they buy if you find a professional producer. There are all kinds of beat makers with huge arsenals of online instruments. Trying to locally find a producer can be an endless task if you don't have to do so. Tip 2 is to find a personal producer with whom you can work individually. I know you think how hard this looks, but many producers and beat makers live from one-on-one working with artists for the next album or mixing tape. These producers and beat makers can also be found right here online. Tip 3 is to go into your local area to open mics. There is no better way than to go and hit the city locally. It is so good for music artists to stand up to the crowd and perform so that they can not only benefit crowds, but slowly build up a local fan base. So you got it there. Find hot beats, get your own producer, and perform locally. It was never easier to become a top-selling music artist. There are, of course, more to take care of as you become more and more popular, but it's a step closer to grandeur to take these first steps and get your feet moist. Develop music industry skills through music forums. Internet forums and chat rooms have become a valuable medium to develop an online presence, build a reputation, network with peers, and get feedback on relevant themes and ideas. There are numerous forums and discussion boards on the internet for musicians, and songwriters. These music forums are packed with knowledge that prosperous artists can take advantage of for their professional development. By actively participating in music forum communities, artists can absorb a wealth of knowledge from the music industry, which can help to further their respective career agendas. Registration in these communities of music forums is generally free, but the more prominent and private societies charge nominal membership fees. To find the appropriate forum community, we suggest that you go to a popular search engine, such as Google or Yahoo. Search the results of the search engine one by one, and remember that each forum community has its own theme, mission, guidelines, and attitude. After visiting some communities in the music forum, you will soon learn that not all music forums are the same. It is important to take your time to find the right community because you want time spent on investment, not waste. Artistopia offers the following suggestions to help you find the right music forums for your needs. At the end of every suggestion below, an explanation is given of how the artist in the music industry develops and matures. 1. Choose carefully a forum community you can set up for the long distance. Take your time to investigate them by reading existing posts, and make sure conversations and styles of music are fulfilled before selecting them. Professional development relationship. To find the right music company or company that is thoroughly developing you is essential to help you mature properly. Know that haste is always wasteful. 2. Focus on building a reputation in the forum community. The cumulative interactions and contributions of one member over time, and not within a few posts, earn a reputation in any forum community. Keep your reputation untouched because it's always twice as difficult to repair damage as first. Professional development relationship. Your reputation in the music industry as an artist is your integrity, which can lead to alienation and possible expulsion. Wounded lions are dragging down the remaining pride. 3. Keep your posts clean, respectful, and productive, regardless of the direction the talk or message thread is going in. It is difficult at times to contain yourself, but to learn to practice patience and calculate tactics of response. Misunderstandings often happen in forums, and you must know when to respond. 4. Professional development relationship. It's a job and not a party to be an artist in a multi-billion-dollar industry. Learn to always be professional and costly. 5. Be careful that senior members and administrators are not offended. Forums tend to promote loyalty among members, so measure every word on your posts and concentrate on being productive rather than destructive. Egos and arrogance don't have to apply because nobody knows everything. Smoothly and intelligently over the senior members, and you will receive a warm welcome. Professional development relationship. Simple. Offend the wrong musician and your career might mean it. Be constructive criticism open and always look forward to learning from everyone around you. 6. Utilize forums to subtly advertise your blog or Artistopia profile, which will give you additional information, brand name development, and help manage your total numbers, song downloads, profile views, etc. Most forum administrators sneer at direct promotions and plain advertising, but they will allow you to display the website of which you are. Respect the guidelines and consider yourself a visitor, because managers will ban without hesitation. Professional development relationship. Identify and exercise every marketing opportunity without inflaming the turf war that promotes your artistic talent. Know your borders and how far you can push it with your head and not your heart by thinking. 7. Make full use of the community forum signature functionality to brand yourself, particularly by adding a banner, a slogan, a quote, or a link to your Artistopia profile or personal website. This is allowed in most communities in music forums and is helpful for others when they read your articles. Professional development relationship. Every professional artist is known for some signature, even though among many other branding aspects, it is lyrics, beats, looks, and wardrobes. Start thinking of yourself as a brand selling your market or niche. Be known for something distinct and continue to build on it. 8. Ensure that the readers articulate your ideas intelligently, that your posts have perfect grammar and orthographic errors, and do not use excessive caps, leaving slang terms out and ensuring that the writing processes are smooth. Readers can quickly assess your ability to write and communicate your thoughts effectively. Professional development relationship. The music industry is about building and maintaining your fan base. Get your trust by showing your ability to walk and speak professionally and effectively. Inform them that your position in the industry has been earned and not passed on to you overnight. 9. Regularly frequent forums and posting messages. This will often show your loyalty to the community and your determination to build your reputation and name. More importantly, you will market yourself consistently repeatedly. Members who disappear for long periods are perceived to be neither focused nor serious about their community agenda with professional development relationship. Half the battle to make your brand float and marketable in the music industry. Being a star is the most far from a walk or a picnic in the park. Stars have to do a lot of performances, appearances, interviews, and anything else to keep their brand alive in front of a camera. Absence will make your popularity worse. 10. Network, work together, and make the greatest possible number of contacts. Don't be afraid to leave the community box of a forum and work on projects with fellow artists, musicians, and songwriters in these forums. More importantly, always fish out and join friends you feel will advance your agenda. Don't hesitate to share your ideas with other members because you will not isolate yourself if you don't. Professional development relationship. The music industry is about who you know and at the right time. To increase your chances of discovery, work with as many peers and professionals as possible. You never know who's going to open the door. 11. Do not get too thin by taking part in more than 2 forum communities. Stay focused on building your presence and reputation only in a few places. Divine research leads to rational decisions at the forums that you choose to settle with. Professional development relationship. Productivity is important, particularly if you're not paid. Start small and take your path. No matter how small, every decision you make will affect your overall progress. Learn and use the politics of the music business perfectly. The most open-minded socialist mankind can challenge building a presence in any forum community. However, you can be sure that you are not marching blindly by exercising the above suggestions. Practice each suggestion in moderation. Be patient as it takes time to build your reputation, and always act professionally so that others can respect you. Finally, forums will teach you people skills and political skills. After you complete the above tactics of the forum, it is time to move on and find out about real living circles of music by participating in networking happy hours, conventions, conferences, and any other meetings where music artists and professionals meet. The essential thing to know is that being a music artist is a job and not a party in this business. Good luck and safe tread. Unnoticed hidden effects of music. It is not hard to know why older people should carefully select music. Art has a secret impact on listeners unnoticed. You might not believe it, but now you can realize why you read this book, that if you're not bad because of music or not good. Music gives you a lot of influence, and it affects your fashion and actions a lot. But it looks normal, and the listener is so unnoticed that without your knowledge, music can kill you softly. The lyrics. Lyrics are the main components of music, and they are the message. It leads the viewer into the deeper significance of the music, and it gives the sound beat and rhythm more importance. The lyrics are the most important part of the music, in which the listener gives his deeper time to perform and apply the lyrics. To be appreciated, the listener must accept the lyrics and influence one listener's thinking. The texts enable the listener to think about what he should do. The genre, the sound, and the beat. This is the ear-catching of the music and is graded as soft and hard by genre. Choosing a genre or music reveals what you like. Some listeners prefer to listen to music because it's a genre, beat, and sound don't really understand the lyrics. This gives the listener control over acts. The genre makes it possible for a listen to travel. The singer is the person who chants the album. This gives the listener the greatest influence, because the listener closely imitates the singer he is. The listener depicts himself as the singer, so if emo is the singer, then emo is also the listener, even he deny it. When the listener sees the singer screaming in the music video, the listener still overreacts to shouting when he faces the same situation as the music video. For example, with the song Untitled, the music is emotional and the song is good. But the simple plan knowing the singer makes the audience feel like he is a simple part of the plan, or is only imitating as the listener sings the song. The music video is the audio and video presentation of the music, and it gives the music to be appreciated understanding and color, the most famous entertainment spice of the music. This helps the listener to enjoy the music more closely. Lyrics appreciation, genre appreciation, and artists' appreciation. The imitation of the artist and so much respect for him is a sin of idolatry, and sometimes the listener wants to imitate the artist's famous and performing style. Therefore, most band players mimic the artist near the idolized player and achieve fame as the same. I want to stress that this segment does not discourage you from hearing music, but you must choose your music in lyrics, genre, and artist wisely. Today's music, or music called inspirational music with fine lyrics, we all know, is transformed into a medium of entertainment that promotes immoral dress code, unaccepted hairstyle, stage appearance, the popularity of idolatry, controversial singers, and the making of business profits. Listen to a piece that Hillsong and Chris Tomlin perform, which is common inspirational music. You'll find that the lyrics are fantastic, but the genre for One Way is not suitable for inspirational music. Many say that the important thing is that you have the intent while you listen, play, and hear. They even work in churches, and worship is the same as the video above in the form of entertainment. Listeners may feel emotional at listening to the song while feeling the fame of the artist or local actor, a genre of enjoyment, good entertainment with a multimedia video, and special human reputation, recognition, and fame. It is similar when one yells for joy when he calls on the stage to be awarded honoris causa and recognition, and some interpreted it as the Holy Spirit presence. It's not bad to listen to albums, but you have to be careful about music and to listen to them. Even if you offer praise and so much time and contribution to the artist, it's still a really good song that has a good genre and lyrics is considered idolatry. You may not understand that even if you don't know, you might still have a hidden influence. Example, idolatry, becoming obsessed like this video of the Stand song. That you may do bad things like lies, unethical sex, rage, and even worse, killing. An experience with Eminem's song that a kid murdered his mum. It's all because of music. Your physical appearance will change, and you follow the mode and styles of the artist. Your words may be based on the music you listened to before. Your acts could be based on the rhythm of the music in which you rock. This blog does not seek to stop you from listening to your favorite music, but just to advise that you and your music should not be your master. But you have to make sure that your music makes you happier or has a good impact. Think of it. If the music you listen to now offers you a good outcome. If not, continue to listen to it. It is up to you to deny yourself all these things. But the most important thing here is to use music to convey your emotions, to allow music to cure your soul for any problem you might have, to encourage and to regulate the music you listen to. But stop regulating. Chapter 5. What type of music are you? Are you a lover of music? Do you love to sing, but sometimes you're like, you've picked the wrong one? If yes, then maybe you haven't had the opportunity to sing with the right kind of music that suits you. Yeah, you heard me right. It is good to choose the right form that fits your range of voices, your tastes, and of course your style. It's because if you have a very good voice, you can sing all of the songs, but you can see that your performance is much better if you're singing for yourself. That's why you must think about it first. Here are the key styles of music you should research to see whether it suits. Classical music. This style is a very complex form of music that takes a lot of effort to be successful. High musical abilities like a very high voice range or a strong skill in the performance of high-class instruments like violin and piano are required. If you want to be successful with this kind of music, you must get the right experience. Rock music. This kind of music needs the aid of a great deal of energy and has been followed by guitars, drums, and bass. In comparison to the other forms, it's not soft and it's very solid. It may seem to some very sound and noisy, but this is rock music, the strong sound that can awaken the senses of all. Rhythm and blues music. R&B is the young generation's most popular music. Nearly every famous singer and talent in this kind of music is currently performing. All of them do well simply because this music is so good to listen to and sing. If it was understood, people could dance and go with the rhythm flux. And that is why they enjoyed hearing this. You will see Jason Derulo, who is one of the most popular artists today, and his song lyrics are also available for this more exciting R&B music experience. You'll definitely enjoy dancing and singing with him. Folk music. If you heard some music that sounds unpopular or uses multiple languages and rhythms, then maybe it's folk music. This form of music came from a specific country or location. They are common sounds that will soon be shared with the younger generation and already a part of their culture. You can feel emotions like survival and cultural challenges in this type of music, and that makes it distinctive and distinct from other types of sound. The history of music, from grunts to guitars. Where did music start, and where does it go? How did we get to today's kind of music? Is music improved by radio and recorded music? This work looks at the history of music and predicts the types of music that can be expected in the future. Where did music start and where does it go? The answers are amazing. There is a modern movement that leads humanity back to the music that it first created decades ago. A conflicting movement creates increasingly complex sounds, and, for more musicians, a world of smaller audiences. Single and rhythm tones were used to communicate before humanity could write and even before they could speak. A bird's song might have inspired a prehistoric man to imitate and improve the noise. Evidence of prehistoric music is scarce, as the sound was not described by descendants in any language. Drumming and imitating objects are considered the first music. This continued with the addition of words when speech was found. Music became more refined after the development of writing. Manufactured instruments have been added. Harmony has been created. To create the first sounds that the modern man could easily recognize as music, flutes, pipes, basic stringed instruments, and popular tools were used. The oldest known song, written in cuneiform, is over 4,000 years old and uses diatonic dimensions. This period is called Old Music. The more regional sound was created as different technology discoveries in different areas resulted in unique instruments. You know that classical music is generally supposed to be the sounds of composers like Bach or Beethoven, but that our folks listened to on the old record players. The music was usually religiously inspired or supported, and usually formally taught as an experiment rather than as a skill. The composed masterpieces of the field were generally performed according to the rigid written work as the musical notation unified regionally. Soon after, folk music continued. This was usually the sound of the unlearned, unable to write or read classes. This music learned orally has been learned and modified time and again to reflect the artist's art. This type of music often depicted the concerns of the alphabet class. Normally, the government and religious leadership were not supported but tolerated. The tradition of folk music continues throughout the world today as a genre of music. Classical music has become a less rigid modern music style, mixed with the concept of personal folk art. Performers still use written or learned pieces, but add their personal touch. Every time it was played, the music would sound different, even when played by the same actor. The slide began backward with the invention of recorded music and the radio. Music recorded is very rigid. It doesn't change. The audience started to expect live performances that were as close as possible to the recorded music they heard. Sheet music allowed amateurs to imitate the original artist closely. To appeal to a broader audience, music became less an expression of what the artist wanted to say and more what the audience paid for hearing. This trend continues today in the form of music that is even simpler. Music needs to be identified quickly and easily. Complexity would result in missing sales. Many modern styles forget either the lyrics or the melody. Recycling previous music in the form of a sample gives an artist an instant audience while restricting the possible artistry. Fortunately, the internet enables any artist of any style to fight the decline in music. The low entry cost allows almost everybody to gain an audience. The low cost also makes it possible for artists to perform what they want, rather than for a wider audience. Hopefully, this will reverse the trends in popular music, creating more and more artistic and unique music in the future. Where did music start, and where does it go? The answers are amazing. There is a modern movement that leads humanity back to the music it first made decades ago. A conflicting movement creates increasingly complex sounds and creates for more musicians a world of smaller audiences. Rhythm and single tones were used to communicate before and even before humanity could write. A bird song may have inspired a prehistoric man to imitate and improve the sound. There is sparse evidence of prehistoric music because there was no language to describe the sound to descendants. Drumming and imitating objects are considered the first music. This went on to add words when speech was found. Importance of mixing theory and history in music lesson plans. If a student wants to be fully aware of music, the student should have a proper understanding of both music theories and music history. A good faculty should, therefore, include history and theory in its music lesson plans. You, as a teacher, should also give your students lectures on how to read musical notations and know the various rhythm techniques, such as successful control of tempo, through the inclusion of chords and key signatures on harmony theory. You should also give the students a good idea of how to make soothing music to the ear. Therefore, the theories of tone, dynamics, and phrases should be properly used. Even if you teach music to your students, there should be correct instructions about the history of the types of music that the student learns. If you teach Western classical music to students, for example, you have to spend some time telling them about different eras in Western classical music, such as the Baroque, the Romantic, classical, etc. If possible, let them know the music of the era practically by bringing the different types of instruments used at that time. A student would thus be better able to learn about the music of the era if he knew the history of that era of music. They can play this music much better on string instruments. For example, if your students are aware that Baroque music has been closely linked to the gavotte and sarabande dance, and clavier music are played on pipe organs and clavecins, they can play these pieces very easily. Therefore, in your music history lessons, you should always have a fair mix of history and theory so that your students can learn better. Music now and then. History of music and woodwind instruments. Music is everywhere, all about us. It is a cornerstone of our society and an inherent element in our souls. Even in utero, the fetus can respond to music played or sung by the mother. In just about every place around you, you find music. Peaceful and cheerful music in restaurants, malls, medical dental offices, shops, lifts, schools or weddings, glorious music on fireworks shows or parades, or even calm music at a funeral. It can be heard on nearly every TV commercial and the theme of each TV show. Some people look for music like it's a drug they can't live without, in their cars and singing in the shower. Everyone can make music vocally or with a musical instrument. We do not always have perfect intonation or vocal pitch, or cannot create a great sound as we interpret auditory information differently, as Simon Cowell so blatantly notes on American Idol. But we can generate music. With some coaching or instruction, we can give a powerful vocal performance like some cast members of the television show Glee, as Emil Menache reports. Music has over time evolved into a wide range of categories and subclasses, from classic, blues, jazz, swing, opera, symphony, rock, country, rap hip-hop, folk, pop, bass, theater, Latin, heavy metal, techno, children, tango, electronic, spiritual or inspirative, gospel and romantic, Native American, marching band, and melancholy. Most of these music types have been produced as part of the change in our culture's structure and function. Music is also very therapeutic. From my own experience as a job therapist, music helps people with a range of different disabilities improve their functions, whether for communication or movement. For example, in working with people with expressive aphasia, who can understand the language but who are unable to express words verbally, singing lets them say what they want, because it involves a different part of the brain. I have found music helps to build a synchronized movement and motor design for children with autism spectrum disorders, as it offers the time and rhythm these children cannot reach in their brains. Whether it is brass instruments, woodwind instruments, or string instruments, or even music dancing, any musical instrument can also become therapeutic. But where did woodwind instruments come from and when? Looking back in history, we can see what the first woodwind instruments were. As late Kurt Sachs so intelligently points out, however, music is derived from pre-instrumental music and primitive man. He notes that all higher animals are emotional by action, for example, stamping on their foot, knocking or clapping their hands. These audible acts were the precursors for the first instruments of woodwind, and probably man did not even know the sound as a separate idea consciously. The first true musical instrument in history, through archaeological findings, was a strung rattle consisting of nutshells, seeds, teeth, or bones tied in strings, or tied into bunches, and suspended from a part of the body, slurry, knee, tail, or neck, to make the body move or to dance sound. But it was a delayed sound after the movement of the body. The sound became direct and not exact, as gourd rattles were shaken in a tribal dance, filled with rocks or small hard objects. From there, other more directly relaying instruments were developed, using the feet or the hands to produce sounds, for example, stampers, using stamping sticks or instruments to make the sound on the board or bark covering the hole in the ground, slit drums, stamping of the tree's hollowed-out trunk on the pit, scraping a notched stick, shell, bone, or gourd with a hard object. The ribbon shoulder was the first basic musical instrument to play like woodwind instruments in the mouth. This was just a grass blade taken from an arrow stretched between the two thumbs, held side by side, and by blowing the blade into a crack, the blade would vibrate with a high, loud shouting sound. More advanced civilizations spiraled through a huge blade of grass into a funnel tunnel, which crossed the top end of the blade. The flute was developed, which was like most other woodwind instruments. A vibration was created and produced a particular tone by blowing into the air column of the tube. Since the Middle Ages, 476 to 1400, and the Renaissance, 1400 to 1600, flutes and other reed woodwind instruments were played as they underwent several changes of design. However, the orchestral woodwind instruments are of more recent origin. The Baroque period, 1600 to 1750, has been known for its radical revolution in music and the need for new compositional styles. Strong emotions, What Passion Cannot Raise and Quill Music, sung by Dryden, were emphasized that required a wide range of sounds to express passion and the sudden changes from joy to sorrow. Like the Middle Ages, the monodic style with single parts that were emphasized returned to music versus the polyphonic Renaissance style, in which all string, brass, or woodwind instruments played in a concert was given equal weight. To achieve this sound, woodwind instruments have undergone a range of improvements and changes. Instead of being made of one piece of wood or another material, 2 or more pieces were now made, which fit closely together so that pitch can be adjusted by length adjustments. Reed woodwind instruments changed the reed cut, changing the bore into a smoother tone. Only bassoons, smaller oboes, and flutes were refused and made up of the orchestra's woodwind instruments. Romanticism, 1750 to 1900, though the musical style reminded me of the 16th century, brought further transformations to woodwind instruments. The expressive emotional music resulted in a substantial increase of stamps and woodwind instruments, so that they could be more easily modulated by a range of technical improvements from timbre to timbre. Woodwind instruments had to have a louder, more powerful sound, in line with the transition of society from aristocratic to democratic culture. Overall, the arts progressed from aristocratic reservation to unconditional love. Technical improvements changes are to advance the wooden instruments towards the evolving musical style for improved musical versatility, fluency of the sounds, precision of the pitch, and free modulation. Key addition, hole position, key placement, key mechanisms, key padding, and boron size have been changed. This produced more powerful woodwind instruments, which could be played and maneuvered more easily. The portion of the woodwind instruments now includes not only the oboe, flute, and bassoon, but also the saxophone and the clarinet. Families of woodwind instruments were created to enhance melodies and harmonies, and to create a fuller sound, like soprano, alto, tenor, baritone. The 20th century brought radical changes to musical styles like jazz, swing, pop, and rock. However, in addition to the introduction of electric instruments, example, piano, organ, and stringed instruments, there was not as much change in woodwind instruments. In the 20th century, woodwind instruments still maintain their 19th century prototype, but can be made from various materials, their mouthpieces of different lengths, widths, and reed sizes, and some people prefer varying colors to their woodwind instruments. The woodwind instruments have made great strides in their development, as dictated by cultures and societal demands. Fortunately, the preference for those sounds has also grown. The music from these wind instrumentations has become pleasant, with the ability to influence our well-being deep in our hearts and minds, versus some primitive instruments screaming and roaring sounds. Let us all enjoy the music deep within ourselves by chanting a song, dancing, or playing woodwind instruments freely. Understanding the music lessons process. Myth. Learned music is a painful, stressful process. Your music lessons can be detrimental if you learn from someone who is not a real music teacher. However, this said, it's not the music lessons that are wrong. Several elements are at stake here. The instructor is the first part. I deeply believe that genuine teachers of music are not simply produced by an education system or great success. Music students are given two career courses in the educational system: success or preparation. You've heard it, and I'm positive about this. Those who can't teach. Well, those who do well are not usually good teachers. Just because a person finds a way to music does not mean he is able or even willing to teach others how to get there. One of a musician, and a talented or skilled musician in particular, is a musician's ego. Studies on the need of the musicians to obtain constructive input from others were performed. The sometimes fragile ego of a singer is fueled by cheers, handshakes, high fives, etc. Why are most musicians playing? Dream about it. Think about it. Some might say it is to express themselves or to create music. However, many musicians will cease to make music in a free audience. If it takes place in a capacity-full stadium or YouTube, it is happiness or success that is high. In comparison, the teaching musician seems to have a more altruistic approach to music. The feedback that hits the true ego of the instructor of music takes the form of teaching others to become skilled in music. The greatest high point for the true music instructor is sharing music with a student and helping them to perform or play music well. If the students go and teach themselves, the teacher rocks the stadium. This doesn't mean there are not many teachers who shouldn't be teaching or performers who don't teach excellent work. Neither of these two technical tracts guarantees the output of a real teacher of music. An individual who is a genuine teacher of music can describe the topic in many ways and styles. Differentiated instruction. It is understood, for example, that people learn in various ways. Not everyone learns from the same way of thinking or relaxation. Some people benefit through auditory stimulation or only listening. Others are better taught by seeing or watching and by kinesthetic or doing others. A genuine instructor must distinguish the learning style of the student and take the right action to educate the student. Also, a professor should be able to describe the subject in ways that the student can relate to any of these three types of learning. The personalities of a born teacher are a genuine will to educate the best of the student, the development of the art, the capacity to convey the topic effectively, massive skills in problem solving, imagination, adaptability, and knowledge. The student is the second part of the music lesson. Some people wanted to have the ability to turn a student magically into a talented musician without the efforts and motivation to succeed. Unfortunately, a pupil seldom succeeds without performing the required repetitions to play an instrument. The need to fine-tune muscle memory and fine motor skills that are exercised are part of learning to play music. A student can rely on the purely natural ability to achieve this, but if you don't have an abundance of natural talent, it won't be long before training is the only way to gain skill. Training should be expected to be a significant part of your learning experience. This definition eludes many people, particularly singing, when it comes to music. When many people see popular musicians performing, they get the wrong idea. You're making it look so easy. They never know the thousands of hours of work they've gone through. The blame is partly on the show business concept. The aim is to present the slight illusion that struggle and hard work do not require a masterful result. The artist needs a warm and happy audience. The truth is that practice is not part of your life if you are just beginning music lessons. You have to make room for your everyday life to practice. For children, this means that you've got 24 hours a day, and you can't take time off your food, sleep, or schooling. There is, however, one area in which practice should fit: free or leisure time. This is the practice of space. Are you talking on the phone, playing video games, chatting with friends, watching TV, surfing the internet? This is the time and place that practice must exist in. For adults who start music classes, life's commitments take a lot of time, but as the majority of people know, if the practice is a priority, they will find the time. Now, if you don't practice, what happens? Is tension there? Maybe a little. If you don't repeat the skills required, how can you advance in your lessons? Some people say their child should not practice if they don't feel like it. Does your child routinely do their chores without being asked? Do they make their bed without being asked every day? Let the garbage out? Then why would you expect them to practice their self-discipline immediately? But music ought to be enjoyable, right? Yeah, when you understand the dynamics involved, music is great fun. The entities of work, difficulty, a very small amount of discomfort as well as pleasure, confidence, self-esteem, and great joy are built into the music lessons. If you don't challenge music lessons, they fail you. Please understand that you will not advance any further if you only practice certain skills in which you feel comfortable. Each new lesson could create a new challenge, and that might take you out of your comfort zone. They mean no pain, no benefit in sports. It's always, though, no fun, I'm done, when it comes to learning music. Sport and music lessons require muscle memory and fine motor skills and practice. The area of play is the same. However, some parents will push their child to engage in routine physical or mental activities that cause a degree of temporary discomfort. Faced with this, preparing for an algebra exam can quickly lead to anxiety, and most parents would press their children to do so. Finally, the study of music, above all other research practices, physical or mental, is scientifically justified to create more useful aspects than most others. You will note the importance of music to the most prosperous communities if you understand history. After all, music training was the pillar of Plato's elite Republican Guard education. Should we not understand and accept the dynamic values of music lessons? Chapter 6. The Visual Performing Artist. Become the Nike Ad. In those Nike ads which say, "Just do it," there is some real merit, and that's how you get started. So, ever wonder what your art career would be if you quit the studio? Can you work in public before a crowd? What's going to happen when you do? Artists who abandon their comfort zone are not afraid of the winds. Sometimes motivating conditions exist. You could be at a point in your career where nothing else worked, so why not? Or they may be wise enough to realize that the old methods of recognition are gone. Or maybe it sounds like a smart idea. Anyway, when an artist chooses to use his craftsmanship in the streets, he turns himself from artist into artist-performer. It doesn't matter how anxious it is. No matter how complicated it is to work in public, it also changes the way you view your art once in the public eye. Artists who don't want to work in public or argue they should recall the Nike ad and just do it. Whatever their art might be, they will find a welcome audience no matter where they are in their art careers. Is that sounding like you? Even if you are not inspired, do you know that your career as an artist might change course one day simply because someone who knew someone just happened to see you at a show or an event in front of a crowd? People enjoy watching an artist. No matter what you demonstrate, they want to do the same thing. You want to be you. And if you're not willing to, they want to leave the memory of seeing a real artist at work with something you've created or at least. When you make the artwork to sell and people watch it, sometimes the selling is focused on the experience of watching the job. Dream about it. Think about it. Whenever your collector shows a friend the item, what do you think she would say the most frequently? She's going to say, "And I saw the artist drawing right there." You purchased and sold it, not only a painting or a piece of art, but an experience, and all because you wanted to be one with the Nike ad and just do it. The 20 things successful performing artists need to know. As a performance artist, you wish to reach your audience and other professionals of the music industry as optimistic and competent in your work. To do this, the maintenance of a business attitude during all your shows and in contact with location owners and staff is critical. 1. Emit written contacts or the letters of agreement in advance where possible. Check the week before the show with your boss or agent to make sure there's no change in details. 2. If you are scheduled to perform in a place you haven't previously been to, consider meeting another band before your gig night. This allows you to check the equipment's access, where the stage is located, where the mixing desk and speakers are located if the cables are fired, what volume levels are approved, and what kinds of music the normal ones enjoy. 3. Always come to the venue for a full sound check before the public arrives. 4. Do bring spare stuff such as fuses, wires, backing tracks, strings, or some other little item that might or might not make a difference. 5. Take an extra long cable if the closest socket breaks down. Protection first. Buy yourself a power control system polarity, such as the Martindale ring key tester, and a pair of circuit breakers for your backline amps. 6. Security first. No matter how poorly tonight your guitarist plays, he was not worthy to die. 7. For each presentation, always create a set list. This can be adapted to the type of audience you often know this place. See tip number 2. If you've shown well, you're going to know how long your set will last. Do not go late on stage and overrun the time you have contracted. The license of the venue owner depends on a certain time when all music ceases. You don't really want to close the place. 8. Play your set between songs without long gaps. Only express what really needs to be said to the audience. A slick presentation and tight demonstrate how well you are rehearsed and keeps the audience on the stage. 9. Rehear the polished inlet and outlet. There's nothing less professional than a group of musicians on a stage holding a sandwich or pint, then talking with each other for several minutes, smoking, putting a record on the disc, jamming, smoking, adjusting clothes, answering a phone call. Just use the dressing room to put your clothing and makeup on your stage. Wait for your performance to be revealed, then step onto the stage and get your first number correct. The opposite should be found at the end of your results. Don't stick around and allow the crowd to scream. Leave the stage as soon as possible and wait to hear if the crowd wants more in your dressing room. 10. Don't be seen on stage in the same clothes that you wore on the soundcheck or mixed with the audience. 11. Take your own telephone cleaner sanitizer can when hiring a PA system. Microphones leased are never washed. 12. On your own time, rehearse, not in the soundcheck. 13. Practice the show extensively but still leave several days between the last rehearsal and the concert a breathing field. Over-familiarity will make you happy. 14. Be always nice and corporate when dealing with workers at the venue, particularly the person who pays you. Don't expect gratuities such as free food and drink automatically. These are benefits unless your agreement stipulates that they are then included in your fee. 15. Respect the fittings and fittings of the venue. Don't damage your speakers and gaffer tape to their furniture or wall coverings. First, ask for permission. They are also happy to pick up some beer boxes to store your speakers instead of using their tables. 16. Do not get intoxicated or drunk with heavy levels of illegal drugs before or during the performance. 17. Don't stay for longer than needed around the venue after the performance. 18. Do not avoid playing a number if there is a minor problem. Never restart a number if anyone makes a mistake in your band. To make these errors unnoticed by your audience, you should be sufficiently well known. 19. Don't play louder than you really must. Not everybody will be there to listen to you in an ordinary venue. Don't try to fill loud music in the entire venue. Only the area or the dance floor right on the stage. People may want to be able to chat in other places, like the pub. 20. If you know you've got a nice combination and the audience member needs you to turn down, pretend to turn a button to please. Oddly enough, he doesn't like that song. Suppose the site owner or bar workers tell you to turn down on the other side. It do! You know when it's too loud after all every night. Lastly, if you published CDs, make sure any show you do is on offer. Use a friend or a fan to build a table with your products. It is also a reasonable reason to make new people register for your mailing list. You can even go out and sign some autographs after the show. Becoming a global performing artist. We understand just what you're going through in trying to set your future in the right direction. Performing artists, models, and other talents. One thing: annoyance. It's difficult to discern what is the best way to go with so many paths, resources, and experts in your ear. Fortunately, many of the monitors which are assigned to lead the network down a more credible path start to show their presence. Of course, the patrol of the net is almost not adequate to shield you from predators and unscrupulous operators, but from them. No doubt, whatever money you need to invest in these tough times needs to be done so as wisely as possible. Every move on your way to the huge picture, you must receive incremental results. No lip service gradual, but real results. Actors, dancers, singers, rappers, comedians, models, musicians, and other artists are taken into consideration. From the start, a clear and concise action plan must be developed and adhered to on both sides. You, the artist, and the service provider you choose. Hope, wish, and dream are not enough. Both your efforts and expenses must bear fruit to ensure that your ultimate purpose is accomplished as fairly as possible. I use words like reasonably as possible and the end target has a shot, since no one can guarantee full success in developing an entertainment career for artists despite the greatest effort. Many variables exist, and you must be mindful of this. However, beginning with a simple and succinct action plan and setting up incremental checkpoints to ensure things move forward at a workable acceptance rate, you increase the chance to accomplish your objectives while reducing negative outcomes or consequences. Without goodwill or good intentions, this approach will ensure that you keep the building blocks required to achieve a degree of success or your ultimate objective. A dose of truth is never incorrect and is a perfect barometer for you if you are a really good artist. Many artists who achieve success sometimes lose their way and become interested in activities that harm success. Note that once you reach high altitudes, if not further extending your role, you must sustain it. Contrary to common opinion, you get the rational impression that you are a role model because you are a recognized public figure. Let no one's stupidity you about that. Going to the brass ring for a shot might make some people do awful things. I was remembered when a 40-man friend went to a game show audition. She told me how for hours it bound her up, an utter waste of her precious time. She never promised to do it again. "Oh yeah, you're going to do that and more." It seemed to take too much time, and there were so many young hopefuls. They all seemed in the same room as she, urgently working some job. To become a global artist means a lot. Is it time for you to understand better? To begin the journey of becoming a global artist, A. You must accept the development, advancement, or co-management of your career. Face it, and now we live in a modern country. Who really has the skills to navigate the treacherous waters which independent artists have ahead? Don't make any mistakes, and you're an independent artist. These are core values of being a talent in the 21st century. This is being seen by the exponential growth of the internet. All the original making it precepts and principles are now virtually gone. They have been removed as online tools such as YouTube, MySpace, Facebook, and more were added. B. Benefit and collect. You want a well-defined, centered audience. Since there have been no longer the old criteria that once characterized an entertainment career, new and more precise reasons must be added. We developed a new term. The wheels are ready to put in motion to implement an everlasting change in the concept of criteria by the global entertainment industry. How far will artists and producers of content take things? Possibly as far as their abilities would go. With the opportunity to acquire insightful search engine marketing tactics, which are even very minimally financed, your job success would surprisingly be on your feet. What you need is a fair idea of how you want your career to be, a thorough investigation of the resources which you believe would help you to get there, and a reasoned, solid action plan that you can completely enforce seems to be a very good idea. By taking these steps and dedicating yourself to providing fans with the best that you have to offer, you have a great chance of success. Combine this with some serious thinking about accessing other world markets, a way when to steer your foreign stardom ticket might be. According to the venerable World Stats statistically packed blog, only 1 in 5 of the world's 7 billion people had access to the internet in 2009 in some way. That's roughly 1.4 billion people. Can you imagine the exponential growth in store for the next 5 to 10 years? That should make your head swim with the opportunity. You must start setting the framework for a future for a long time, while it is affordable and realistic to do this. C. Creation of artists. This is an especially important job. In the 1930s to 1960s, the major film conglomerates celebrate their heyday in an important attempt to grow the artist. This has been recorded in new and more slimmed-down versions of those gigantic powers, especially after the devastation caused by a declining world economic downturn. The result replaced the diligent, creative executive who now prefers to put the artist's responsibility in the hands of new young talents, as if they don't already have enough on their heads. Not to be concerned. Interviews, presentations, interactions, and the smooth tuning of outcomes can all be produced if you use the right resource to deliver this degree of expertise. D. Production. Producers. It's not easy to take charge of your future. If you don't have the experience or skills to build a vehicle for yourself, you will succeed in languishing on the altar. A knowledgeable resource from the outside will be given a unique insight into you as an artist. You should take this view and convert it into some strong material you and your audience can love and enjoy. You can add so many new resources to your arsenal, but you need to know when and how to use them. If you do, the results you want will be obtained. If you perform in music, TV, movies, videos, or live, Something tailor-made for you must be produced. E. Marketing. Highly specific marketing and the internet are the main. With all the unique services and programs that have been created, isn't it shocking that you can now target particular markets, audiences, and customers worldwide? You will help them effectively develop, promote, and shape your career. If you need to explore the specifics, you want to select a comprehensive software that fits your needs. Determine first, then research numerous avenues to allow you to come to the right conclusion. How to become a national recording artist. Each marathon begins with one move. What about a corny cliché? Possibly. Probably. Yet there is a truth kernel in every cliché, and you have to develop the right career path before you become a nationally recognized recording artist. The first move is to build your local fan base. Do whatever and whenever you can. Play showcases in clubs of rock. Search out for open microwave nights. Project your showcase. Plan your own. Give a free concert and a local club and send all your mates invites. Wherever you do, get as many people as possible to participate. Post the event on Facebook, thus. Send a tweet. Send a tweet. Find jobs that support your music. Put you in touch with professionals in the music industry, such as a studio backup singer. Get an agent and give them out to you as a commercial jingle singer in auditions. These jobs are not just good places to mingle, and they even pay well. Hone your expertise in songwriting. While talented singers and musicians are always looking for a product, it is particularly coveted for those who compose their own material. As a singer-songwriter, you double the chances of having a label signed. Many popular artists started to compose songs for other famous singers. Virally promote yourself. Build a fun and easy-to-use website to rent a professional digital recording machine, and upload a high-quality video to your blog. Use your video again on Facebook, Twitter, and other social networking sites. Once you've set up a local and online record deal, it's time to get a record deal. Start with the creation of a promotional kit. Get a professional headshot, copy any reviews you may have, and write a short but attractive cover letter that will introduce you. The biggest part of your kit is a demo. Record those if you write your own music. You choose songs that best show your voice rather than choosing a song because it's common when you cover songs. And don't try to sound like anybody. Trust your own style. Be aware of your appearance when you encounter a mark. Impressions are relevant for the first time. And above all, be constructive and competent. Show them you are ready to be a national recording star artistically and personally. Let's start the simple steps to make you more independent and produce the next hit song to listen to fans and record labels. It is necessary to start by selecting a good beat. There are a lot of places that allow you to lease or rent rather than just buy it. The difference between leasing or purchasing a beat is typically the price point and the music rights. For example, Artist A purchased a $1,000 beat from a producer, but now the artist is entitled to the beat, including selling the song he records to as many people as they do, without having to pay anything to a producer. The same example, but with the rental option. Artist B leases a producer beat for good beats between $40 and $50. You immediately note that Artist B has spent far less money on the beat that he/she can record on between the two instances. If you have a limited budget, this is the best of both ways. The more you save on a beat, the better, because the beat is just a start. Then you must write a new beat song, which you have just purchased from a producer. Now, if you're not happy with why you're writing songs, there are ways to get around them. Jump on Google and review songwriting if you feel like writing your own music. You can also get songwriters to write a song again for you, so that you have to pay for Google songwriters in your field. After you agree to the songwriter and the song is done, the next step is to find a recording studio in your area where you can track and mix the song for yourself. My advice is to practice your song as many times as you need before you go to the recording studio, because when you go to the studio, you are using a paying system that typically goes with them every hour. Be well prepared to make the most of your money. Know your song by heart and be able to record as soon as possible. If you can master this technique, you can recycle the first steps and, for instance, purchase 2 beats and record 2 songs. The mistakes people make are they go to the recording studio unprepared, and this is a tragedy for you because the recording studio won't care how long you are there. Longer, the more money that you will pay. Now, I don't suggest you can go in 10 minutes and lay down a song. Be professional, but note it comes from your own pocket. This is a demo recording, and recording companies know that you do not have the resources to spend some time in the studio. After tracks were mixed and you got a copy of the final job, you now have a demo song or songs you can sell for fans, music managers, A&R agents, and record labels. Creating a MySpace profile, creating a Facebook profile, a Twitter profile are the 3 most popular social networks. It will help you bring your music out and expose yourself to it. Let's go back to the previous example. Taking all the transactions between buying and leasing the finished product into account, you can see that if the artist did what you did, then he needed a sample to begin with, but charged full cost for the beat, and the cost result is a lot higher than someone who rented the beat off from the manufacturer. Chapter 7. The 5 mistakes that recording artists make. 1. Try too hard. Have you ever seen a show and rapping so forceful they seemed almost desperate? Were their weapons spread throughout the place? Was their face scrupled by the word they said? Many make the mistake of trying to please the viewer with too hard. The paradox is, if one normally gets none, is trying too hard to get approval. And what do? It's really easy, actually. Relax. Have your music with pleasure. Your fans already have enough people trying to sell them stuff during the day. Don't just become another seller who wants to persuade them. You're tight. Know just how narrow you are and prove it. Is that meaningful? Trust me, when you love yourself, people will respect you and don't worry a whit about what they believe. And don't do any of all about anything when you perform. Let me put a question to you. Say you watch your favorite funny TV show and something happens that make you laugh. You're laughing right now. Are you worrying or just enjoying yourself? Yeah, you get it now. When you record your songs or perform, you want to be in that state of enjoying yourself. And how are you doing that? Only watch the stage or the mic and get loose. Thank you, the audience, and thank the music. Take note of your facial expressions and gestures. This can be summarized in 2 terms, and both are, do you! The trick is to do what makes you feel relaxed. This leads to the next popular error. 2. Please everyone. The wise man once told me, it doesn't matter if you're going to dislike some people like it, others don't care about it. And what do you know, it's the truth. Bill Cosby was once quoted as one of his most successful entertainers. I do not know the sure road to success, but the only way to fail is to make everybody happy. Think a second about that. If you're planning on making an album that everybody likes, then you're set to get hot. Here's how you're going. When you write a song next time, ask yourself these questions. Who's going to hear this song? How old are the people who are going to live with this song? Who can relate to this song? If you answer these questions, you will know who will be associated with your music, and those who associate your songs are called your niche market. You have to find your niche market and explode it. If you want to be gigantic, post your niche songs. That's how you build a massive fan base, not through trying to make everyone's songs, but by creating niche market songs. When you know who your niche market is, you next have to find a producer that you fit to help you blow up your niche market. 3. You don't fit with working with a producer. Musical chemistry is all about mixing. Many producers have different viewpoints on what musical chemistry is. It seems to me like something is deliberate. The maker who matches you will have the same intentions as you. For example, do you just want to be a local act? Find a producer in the city with the same aim. Do you want to go big? Find a producer with the same purpose. Want to make heartfelt music? Find a manufacturer who wants to do the same thing. Do you want to make hits for the club? Find a manufacturer who wants to do the same thing. If you and your manufacturer agree, it is when the magic happens. Your vocals and beats match like glue together. Your songs are going to feel right. Now, if you are a gospel rapper and you work with a producer who just wants to hit the club, it will sound very unnatural to your product. It's all going to sound forced. Are you having this? Act with a producer and your career would be 10 times smoother. 4. Too flat and repetitive. Everybody and their mother nowadays wants to rap. What will differentiate you from the pack? One idea to try is to be unpredictable. You never know what the great artists will have to expect. You keep waiting for your next line, and you never know what to say next. And how are you doing this? Turn your style up. Switch up. Often pace quickly, then show them how you can slow it down. Don't be scared of offending someone. Let your records be the evidence of your real existence. Don't spit, except you live. Too many rappers just follow the direction and stick to the script. They tell the same thing they heard on 106 and Park, then copy and paste the lyrics into their songs. You rap in a dull, repetitive voice that doesn't evoke any passion in the listener. Play with the inflections in your accent. Know the feeling that your listeners like when they hear the track that you lace. Fill yourself with that feeling and spit it out. You want to give your niche regularly what they need. 5. Do not stay consistent. Let's say you have a tight song in my MySpace, and people are going to say, that's a tight song. Let's say you put a narrow song on my MySpace every week. People are going to say you are tight. This is the difference between an accepted recording artist and a hit wonder. You have to keep the hits coming. The more hits you get, the more your next hit is predicted. Labels also accept this. They would be more comfortable to sign an artist who sets a record every week than a guy who just has a single like Right Now. There's no limit to how far you can ascend in this game when you keep dropping new material and constantly reinvent yourself. Become a professional music producer. The internet enables the creation of music and the affordability of the equipment required for this music. Today, on sites like iTunes, MySpace, and Facebook, there are millions of tracks on the internet. Unfortunately, the consistency of these releases has fallen drastically, but this is good news for good suppliers. So how do I become a competent manufacturer? 1. Get a mentor for yourself. Too many people want to make music by trial and mistake. This takes so long and can cost you a great deal of money, let alone a guaranteed waste of time. Nobody needs to see a mechanic fixing their new BMW. I prefer a Range Rover, personally. No, we certainly want to know that the person or garage in charge of our car repair is well educated. To be frank, in the music industry, there is no distinction. Those who have learned their craft from others are good producers. You get stronger and faster in the course of being trained. Put your ego down and remember you don't know it all. The good news is that older, much more developed producers are still ready to teach the next generation to listen. 2. Collaborating with trustworthy musicians. One way to become a successful producer is to collaborate with musicians and singers who are very talented and who want to do it in the industry. In reality, many producers start by releasing very popular products, and then other artists will ask them to duplicate their success. You might start by signing an artist and producing them, and then starting working with other artists' labels from this success. Among the mistakes some make is to begin collaborating with mediocre artists who can do nothing for their careers in the long run. Maybe if you have a workshop, you can create an alias and use a different name for your production, thereby reserving your production name for credible names. 3. Hear what's current. Many people think their product is the best music they have ever heard, but they forget that before they started production, people heard music. If you don't listen to the latest, your work could not be placed on the radio. Since radio is still an important part of the music industry, and I believe it will remain so, we have to create music that suits well to what was played. Working alone and trying to build a nice or new sound is a fantastic idea, but it's also vital to make sure the music you make is part of the industry it is created for. Professional producers are still up to date, and one of their secrets is to listen and change what has taken place. Trying to become professional musicians. Know the mistakes people make. If you want to excel in the music business, you need to know and do many things. But even if you do, you will prevent yourself from achieving significant success through critical errors, and there are some potential mistakes you could make if you are not careful. After mentoring and coaching many musicians and bands who are searching for music careers, there remain consistently the same patterns of mistaken expectations, challenges, and mistakes. 1. No convincing picture that suits your music. The value of their image is seriously underestimated by most musicians and bands. Yeah, music is about music, but the success of the music business involves a complete package that includes music, picture, and visual stage shows, which need to be produced completely in keeping with each other. 2. Attempt to put your name out. Although most musicians and bands are concerned with this, it is the wrong approach to begin with. It is also more important to concentrate on converting people who hear and see you into true fans before striving to be seen and heard as often as possible. This conversion is the first key to your promotional performance, and it is not seen or heard to the greatest degree. 3. Assuming that online music marketing's secret to musicians and bands is the social media platform. The websites of social media are a guide. They are one piece of the puzzle selling online music. Companies in the music industry, record labels, artist managers, booking agencies, etc., are much more interested in the success of your website, not how many followers you own and influence on MySpace, Twitter, Facebook, or some other website. Want to please the industry with the promotion of your band? Create traffic to your website. 4. Not enough time to develop your musical career. Many musicians spend most of their time with the music, but make very little effort to establish it in the music industry. You should spend at least 50% of your time in beginning or progressing your music career if you are a talented musician already. If you still grow your musical skills, about 25% of your music time should still be spent developing a potential career in music. 5. Encircle yourself with people who are pessimistic, lazy, and lack ambition. If you are serious about becoming a talented musician and a great music career, you simply must be surrounded by like-minded musicians. 6. Getting only average live skills. Many musicians that are not yet in a good band put their live performance and stage presence ability to improve. This is a huge reason why talented musicians don't get into really good bands for which they are listening. Your music might be fine, but an alive show needs more than great music. If people just wanted to hear the album at home, they would listen to you. Fans and record labels alike want and expect a real performance. Failure to do so contributes to the rapid forgetting of talented musicians and bands. 7. Focusing on raising the fans' quantity rather than the strength of their fans. If you are popular in the music industry, the number of fans must always be your secondary focus, not your primary one. In reality, not the number of fans, but the number of fanatics would more directly contribute to your success, or lack of it. This is especially true at the beginning of a musical career of a band. Concentrate more focus on turning the followers into raving fanatics. Learn to do that, and the number of your fans overall can increase through good word of mouth. 8. Not enough cash flow to help your career in music. Like it or not, building a musical career takes money, and if others pay for your album, tour support, merchandise, etc., you still have to be able to seek opportunities as they come. Unfortunately, many artists miss chances because they can't afford to use them. Besides the decent salary, you will need the flexibility to take time off the income to visit the studio, tour, etc. That is why it is so good to learn how to teach the guitar if you learn to be a highly effective guitar instructor. 9. The relationships are not sufficiently strong. It is not what you know, and it is who you know. There is an old saying. This is often changed into music. It's not who you know, it's who you know. The reality is, neither is it. The most critical aspect of relationships in the music industry is the scope of your present and future ties. You don't just want to meet people or be identified, and you want people to know that you really have a deep bond with yourself. So when opportunities arise, you still keep your eyes high. Ask yourself, what will I do now to continue to deepen my current relationships? 10. Making an essential misconception as to what record labels are searching for and expecting new bands. This is a big problem, but in short, it is very helpful to think of record companies such as a bank that gives money to people or small enterprises. Record companies make much of their choices as to who they are to operate and what the conditions are to be, almost the same as a bank decides who they are to lend money to and the terms of the loan. Both record labels and banks want to see three things. How much value are you now adding to the contract? How much chance you take right now you? How much potential value and risk will you add after you invest in yourself in the future? If you like to buy a home, the bank needs to know a lot about your particular house and even more. Record companies are just the same. They want to know your songs, talent, and band, but they care about you and your bandmates as individuals too. What about you is a good or poor investment for them for a record deal? How to become a songwriter. Learning how to become a songwriter for many musicians was a daunting task. Several others find the mission simple to complete. I heard and saw people playing or singing not well, making music that is trapped in the head and still refuses to quit. Some musicians perform very well, but were unable to write a memorable piece of music if their lives depended on it. Good knowledge of melody, lyrics, chords, and rhythms is also the basis for what contributes to effective compositions. However, a great song is always made by someone with great creativity who knows how to make music with which people can enjoy and interact. This is why some authors produce unforgettable pieces instantly, while others create easily forgettable music. The understanding of how to become a songwriter who has a lasting effect on people depends, as much as musical knowledge, on instinct and personal experiences. Some have said, "You can't say the tale if you haven't been there." I agree that successful songwriting depends on the right musical talent and personality mix. The following is a short list for those who want to write songs. 1. The proper balance of simplicity and sophistication would please those who want music that is easily recognizable but still a little challenging. The approach would make the piece more interesting and, at the same time, entice people to hear it again. 2. Strive, however, to make the lyrics special. A tale that just sounds like your own but close to the stories other people may have had is more likely to win over. 3. Listen to songs you respect, with attention paid to their elements. You will finally be able to invent yourself especially. 4. Learn about the many competent, high-quality, immediate downloads that are excellent in this field. Most of them are cheap and include many incentives. It takes time, commitment, persistence, and tenacity to learn how to become a songwriter. Based on yourself and excellent learning opportunities will yield fantastic results. Become a professional solo guitarist. It's really easy for someone to pick up an old guitar and play a song just like many other people can just as easily play a few notes there, and the act is called a solo. The question is, do you wish to hear that you play solo? You are interested in learning how to play guitar solos as well as the pros do. There are some aspects that you need to reflect on during practice sessions. As soon as you can manage anything, you definitely must sound like a professional, and it's even easier than to sound here and there for a few notes. An aspect that covers everything you have to learn from your sessions is that you have to master any attempt you make to a song at all costs or fail. We are talking about power. Control in that sense means taking charge and control of your notes, rather than being controlled by your guitar over what you can or can't play, and don't ask how many musicians play today. 3 checkpoints are listed below. Play your notes cleanly. When you learn to play solo guitar, it is important to know how to split the notes into smaller parts when you play. When you practice these patterns, make sure they consist of only a few notes, so that you can manipulate and play the notes smoothly. Try it with a pendulum again, and try to increase your play pace a little bit this time. Stay with the note you chose. Yes, this sounds a little strange because you must have noticed that the strings that are so simple to bend increase one's propensity to move off quickly. Practice how to do it if you have to take care. You may bend, roll, or simply use a simple vibrato to smooth it so that you land on the desired note. One of the best factors, along with the practice and information about the end product, is the management of all the individual notes. Maintaining control over intensity. Remaining on a note and playing cleanly is important, but playing good solo is far more important. The player's feeling in music and this product of a well-managed and sustained strength can also be the result of a successful solo. Whenever you hit a note, you want to demonstrate your attack and desire mood in the overall music. Finally, do you think about this question top? Do you become a professional guitarist after you notice yourself, or does the notice aspect come after you must train like professionals? Train as much as you can as your guitar career takes on the dimension. The secret guitar weapon. Join us to look at what guitarists all over the world use to master their instruments as their hidden weapons. Get to know what you can use as a tool for perfecting and mastering several essential guitar techniques and abilities. Anyone playing the guitar and taking their playing seriously tries to master the instrument. They spend countless hours in practice, fully committed to enhancing their abilities and developing their craft knowledge. Most of these serious students are still in the hunt for new tricks, new tips, or the hidden weapon they have to take to the next stage to become a master. Guitar supporting tracks are the ultimate little-known hidden weapon for guitarists. So what are tracks for guitar support? These are tracks without the guitar lead, but captured in the original song with drums, bass, keyboards, and all the other instruments. Some songs have the guitar rhythm, while others leave room for rhythm. Guitar tracks are the key to unlocking the potential inside every guitarist's spirit, mind, and finger who wishes to take the skills to the next level. This is because their support roots will help you develop and master new skills by having a whole band back you up. Guitar backup tracks will help you improve the ability to improvise solo and stage work. By having a rhythm section behind, you, with all the spots available to you alone, you can practice and focus on improvisation and face-melting solos. Improvisation is a technique particularly necessary for a guitarist to master and needs a great deal of practice. But guitar tracks support. You will help you make the most of your time in practice and make it more fun. Another nice aspect of using guitar tracks is enhancing the time and rhythm. These tracks include a powerful, real band tempo backup that knows how to play. Playing with these tracks will help you develop your timing skills and improve your sense of rhythm. Make sure a specialist optimizes the use of support tracks. A guitar backup track and not cheap MIDI files are used. You can buy professional tracks at Planet of Rock or custom tracks made by your band. Playing with guitar tracks is the ideal way to practice and perfect your skills, and it is fun to learn how to apply the whole knowledge that you learned. The use of guitar backgrounds gives you an advantage over people who do not use them, by helping you to learn how to develop your band play skills. You can also play guitar backing tracks, which will allow you to gain live experience, which can also play live. Be helpful to improve your musician skills. How to make a professional song. The inexperienced musician always saw the process of making music as overwhelming, but asks any experienced musician, and they will tell you the feeling is just gone with time. This is because each project is different, and every time a whole new way of thinking is needed. You will start working faster, but each record is a new learning experience. Below is a traditional method for song making used by contemporary professionals. One of the best things you can do in music is played with whether it's on stage composition, songwriting, mixing, or mastering. Creativity is a matter, of course. Now you may wonder why so much music sounds today and above experiment. You want to carefully take your artistic chances. Music listeners have unconsciously got used to music that follows a general trend over the years. Notice that it says general, since many hit songs have violated the rules. You're usually going to hear an intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro. Note how you can hear the hook, the part of the song that you probably step on or walk on during the chorus. Most songs are rendered or breached by their hooks, so make sure it stands out when it comes to building. You can make music on several or a few stages depending on your favorite workflow. Below is an established and tested approach that many people use today. Step 1. Composition, arrangement. It is normally important to have a keyboard to record your music, to create music if you don't record live. It is necessary to learn an instrument because it is vital for a music maker, whether you are a producer with a sample or maybe rely on the session musician to bring your thoughts into the machine. It's nice to use a MIDI keyboard to create music because it gives a live, human feel that doesn't make a record sound so mechanical. These days, people usually start the rhythm, stop it, send it off to the singer, and then work it out when the singer returns the vocals. What process! But it can be very satisfying if posted. Composition. You want to have a general understanding of what you are going to do before you get started. Ask yourself, is it a smooth, sad dance? Will it concentrate on dark musical themes related to genres like hip-hop? Or will it gravitate toward the lighter pop sound? Start with a track name in mind and a general, not lyrics, story of the track. Later on, this tends to make the song more enjoyable as you can use a subtle instrument to hit sections, and then a complete sound wall that pierces the speakers for an intense section. However, it is not unusual to start a song with one idea and then end up with another, only as long as you feel you enjoy the end product. You typically want to begin composing with your song's main attraction. This can be a murderous drum pattern, piano, or instrumental melody. You can build your song around what makes it better, and don't need to start to find out what makes it great when you finish the beat. Typically, a mediocre sound is beginning to send you a mediocre track. The chorus can start with a few excellent results, although it can be long and tedious to try and find the right melody. But once it's done right, it's like the rest of the song falls good. You must determine whether you want solid kicks, which won't take too much help from the bass guitar sound, or whether the vocals will later take 90% of the focus of your choir hook, and the instrumentation is rather simplistic for that part. Try a few combinations which work best for the song. After the main attraction, you can now create the rest of the song. A few songs don't vary too much between the parts these days, which means it is easy to build the rest of the song, while some songs have several sections that will keep you interested. There is a lot of variation in typical commercial dance music. This is partly because you have a lot of space. If the average song size is 330 to 430 minutes, and the dance song is 120 beats per minute, this means you can get into 30 bars of music per minute, compared to a slow and constant hip-hop song that is only available in about 15 bars at about 60 beats per minute. You can spice things up at 60 beats per minute, of course, but the 120 beats per minute song will encourage you to work with better choices. After you have finished the beat, you usually give it to an artist who can compose and sing. This process of writing lyrics and finding the melody you compose for the song can be so enjoyable that the song can have a whole new dimension. For the songwriting, simply note that the best song would be something catchy and yet fresh. The repetition wisely used may make a song stuck into the mind of the listeners, but too much use it. Arrangement. This process starts when the singer's final vocals are returned to the producer. Put the vocal tracks and their supporting tracks into the song and start to muddle its structure. Some songs are better when the chorus reaches you in a second, but some are best after a good incremental climax. Arranging is often ignored as a major method, but for a successful song, it is important. Knowing where to put the sections of your song will help to emphasize the important parts of the song and build some nice crescendos. Play with the instruments on your beat throughout the arrangement. Do they sound right with the voice? Will the lead instrument and the lead vocal have clashing notes? Some songs don't gel with the rhythm because an excellent beat would have been positioned underneath an excellent vocal. You must select which parts of the song will shine and which parts will have the vow to shine, which should make it exciting and balance the mix. Playing at speeds here can also help to give the song a human sound, but typically the delete button works best. Some music makers hate to erase the sections they have created and may end up with too many instruments in a section of the pit. After that, you'll be able to track your song for the mixing phase, stage 2. Mixing is often difficult and typically requires a professional to get the best out of your album. Basic etiquette advice for musicians. For some reason nowadays, basic ways and manners seem to become fabulous. Some of the experiences that you have learned these days from working with artists from all walks of life really open your eyes to seeing who is in the long-term music business and who's going to be the 9-to-5 change burger for the rest of their lives, instead of living their dream in the music industry. The show of good manners and etiquette allows many people to determine if they want to work with this person or whether they just feel sympathy. Many artists today are at the top of the diva mindset and spoiled brats. The only reason these people are accepted to a certain extent is that they can make money. But after their 15 minutes of fame has been milked, they stay tall and dry, as nobody would like to work with an incompetent fool who has no decency to represent himself positively and upright. Each and every person acknowledges this lack of good etiquette more and more, and needs to stop. Some people can only draw the line if they are slapped or when they work on something by the artists, but we must draw the line sooner. Learning to read people is a must in the music industry to thrive. Simple signs like taking a simple email for good, inability to justify themselves when they are wrong should be a cause for reprimand, as musicians cannot let their own business become a non-sensory industry with the worst characters to come to light. So you can ask, what are the basic ways and etiquette should follow in the music industry? Below are some tips, although some may be aimed at the savvy pro, while others are directed at the enthusiastic and inexperienced amateur. Relearn the odd words you have got as a child like thank you and please. Apology and agitate not. It seems like when working on a project and a party is incorrect, they try to explain it in the most incredible ways instead of understanding their mistakes, and this can lead us to an unnecessary line. Don't shake the situation to blow things out of proportion. Those magical words, I'm sorry, instead say and move one. But make sure you tell them honestly, because hollow apologies can lead to even bigger problems. Whether how good you are or how much money you make, learn to value others and their views. Don't think you were once a tiny fish in a huge swamp, and probably you had to be the big fish because the people above you couldn't listen to anyone around and dug into their own grave. Innovation and inspiration come from the strangest places, so take the time to hear and respect what other people have to say. Be always professional. Be always professional. It doesn't matter whether you're the upcoming 17-year-old superstar these days. Really, if you show yourself as a novice with mood swings and reckless choices, no one will ever take you seriously. Often show good manners. Always show good manners. If you ever wonder why people don't take you seriously, maybe you should look at yourself deeper. Are you polite? Are you polite? You dress well? Dress well? Speak with trust in life and emails even? Talk for others highly? These things may seem small, but our minds are set to take care of these things and quickly determine whether you profit or are costly for other careers. Be frank. Be honest. If any musicians face problems, they tend to close in a little bubble rather than interact with others, and this obviously is of no benefit to anyone. Honesty is also one of the industry's most valued commodities. Keep contact good and always look for good relationships. If you work with someone who is mostly email, which is seemingly the trend today, then the person you work with gets to know between the musical talks. But don't be crazy invasive and ask them about their life story, but instead, get to know them better and develop a friendship. The writing days alone are long gone. You need to decide who you want and then support each other to achieve your goals and aspirations. Finally, stop profanity, swear, when you speak to people you don't know too well. Even if you're on the rap and hip-hop scene, not everyone likes to have 10 F-bombs per sentence. Some people find it off-putting when someone sends the very first email to ask them to work with all those swear words. Keep it clean at first. If you then find that the person you're talking to establishes a friendship and they're all right with the use of taboo, then go ahead and let those words flow. Hopefully, the above knowledge will enable you to better your music and your relationships. Dealing with disappointment from your music. Then you submitted your demo and did not get a callback. Maybe you wanted to earn an award for your music, but nothing happened, or a chance you will work on it for months, else years, would be stripped from your eyes. All this and more leads to a dissatisfaction that is known as deceit. Feeling frustrated by rejection will probably lead you to concentrate all your thoughts on this one disappointment, and will likely cause your feelings of bitterness, rage, or rebellion. Obviously, this is the wrong thing to do, but the truth is that we are human, and that's how our minds function. Here are some helpful points that may sound to you like the end of the world at that particular moment. It's not the world's end. Yeah, you are consumed by negativity and an overworked mind that just makes any dreary situation bleaker, but tries to calm down. And remember, you just have to fight for it even more if you really want something. And if something's done, then just know that even bigger things are just around the corner waiting for you. Stay strong. Stay strong. Continue to think of these deadly emotions in your head: jealousy, resentment, rage, and sorrow. If these thoughts turn into acts, then you will do more harm than good to yourself. Even if someone gets something you think you really deserve, dig deep inside and honestly congratulate them. It really doesn't make any sense to start the person talking wastefully or mocking every move. Learn to be the bigger person and live with it, and let yourself go ahead and keep on concentrating on what's important, whether it's a better demonstration song or a more intelligent and educated career choice. Don't blame yourself. Don't blame yourself. Sure, at times our actions directly result in something causing disappointment, but sometimes you would be convicted of something that was probably out of your control. Clear your mind and take breaths when you know you can just torment yourself mentally. We may not know it, but without even thinking about it, it is too easy to damage your own emotions. It can seem like the only thing you can do to survive in the present damp and sad situation, but you can try to push yourself to have a robust future perspective. This helps you to pick up your feet and get back up. Know your errors. Don't pick yourself up and just slip down due to the same mistake. Think about your past behavior and how you can change them. Wisdom is the only thing you can do to prevent potential heartbreaks. Find your release. Find your release. Playing the piano is an ideal way for certain people to clear their heads. What's the release of yours? It could be singing, writing, dancing, playing, or something else. By doing something you really enjoy and like, you can clear your mind and reset it to normal. Even a good evening's sleep will give you a refreshing and hopefully new view of the situation. Here is an insightful quote that can be motivational and inspiring. Life is full of deceptions. Build character disappointments. The character of the building makes you stronger. People don't learn from success. They learn from defeat. For one to fully appreciate a win, one must first suffer a... Conclusion. So, you're new to the industry. You want to introduce your music to a larger network of people, but you figure you're far from big names on the billboards. Of course, no musician has started easily, particularly if he must promote a lot of indie music by himself. Nevertheless, you know that you must do this so that you can make people aware of the kind of music you want to make popular. But you have to work your way through with a relatively low budget and a small network. Many talent managers claim that the promotion of independent music must double or triple the efforts of already developed organizations. But these simple focus points will promote these efforts. The internet has worked for many people, businesses, activists, and in political matters of multinationals. The internet has become a modern center of knowledge, and the essence of its transparency opens the doors to checks and balances. Also, using the internet often entails very little expense, as only a working computer and a stable internet connection are needed for the promotion of your little indie music. You should first have your own online profile and then establish a brand. You can do this only through a working email, with the name of your band, and through an online social networking site, which can also act as an online headquarters, where you can post photos, gig updates, band members' profiles, and even text and chords of your latest songs. Try to invest in a completely functioning website when you get enough money. Get a domain. Get a domain. When searching is simple and easy, people can appreciate how easily you cater to your curiosity. You bank on a network then. When you feel relaxed online, the next thing you have to do is not build an online and non-digital network. Get to know the people in the industry who are big names, or people who know the industry's big names. Friend them, flatter them, get closer to the light of day. If you unexpectedly hear that you already have a fan base from your online accounts, stay in contact with them. Talk to other musicians, particularly those of the same genre as yours, and try to connect to increase your publicity. You can also schedule with them gigs and activities. Besides the self-made efforts you make to support independent music, it is nice to have a third-party press release and promotion. Positive feedback and mere blog mileage are good. Only try to watch the content you publish to make sure you get positive information on the web, on the radio, friend of a DJ, and on paper. You gain credibility with this kind of indie music promotion and can count on it to become a stronger musical icon. This has been Indie Survival, written by Jason R. Martin, narrated by Rory Young.